Welcome to the Let's Run That Back podcast, where it's two dope black girls talking nothing but music and culture. It's giving all the vibes.
So sit back, grab a drink while we give you some tea, minus the shade, or maybe just a little shade,
All right, here we go. Hey guys, welcome back.
Welcome.
Listen, episode 4.
Jesus.
Already.
Wow, 4th month of the year.
Yes.
Time is flying.
Time is definitely flying. And guess what, guys? We have a guest.
We have a special guest.
And we have an amazing guest, okay? We want you to put your hands together.
Give a round of applause.
Round of applause, all right?
Standing ovation.
For no other, the music man himself.
The legendary.
Josh Salter. Thank you for
that legendary. It's killing me.
gracing the podcast with your presence.
Thank you.
You're our first
Thank you
guest
for having
ever.
me.
You're our first guest.
Well, I appreciate
And not
being
our
the
last
first.
guest.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I appreciate being the first. Thank you for having me.
You did it first.
Yeah, I did it
Don't worry,
first. Yeah, I did it first. Thank y'all for having me. I really, really appreciate the invite. This was really, really cool. Always a support of my sister and anything this woman does. She's the music lady herself as well. All things media, all things music. So if you are not hip to Genius, you need to be hip to Genius. Like if you're on any of my followings, Facebook, Instagram, I'm not on Twitter, but and I'm barely on Snapchat. But if you're on any of my followings, you need
Clubhouse,
to be following TikTok. Yeah, those. You need to be following Genius for sure. They stay in the know with not just mainstream, but what's happening currently, like locally where we are for indie artists. This is not for A-list artists all the time. This is not for Beyonce, Jay-Z. This is for although we will promote.
We're not denying.
We're not gonna deny Jay and Bay.
Hey, listen, we might do a Jay-Z interview, won't we?
We're gonna manifest.
We're gonna manifest that. Okay.
We will.
We are.
We will.
We're gonna do that.
But definitely for the artist who's just starting, who has new music, who wants their voice heard as well. So I appreciate what you guys do. Round of applause somewhere. For all things Genius, and I really, really do love you guys. And
Thank you.
Y'all know I'm always around.
Listen, we're gonna always support each other. I'm about supporting, okay? Yeah. Danielle and I are very, very appreciative to those who really, just support, watch, share, retweet. And we want to also give a shout out to another Josh who holds us down in the background over here, okay? So shout out to you.
Yes, sir.
AKA Jules.
Jules, yes.
2 Joshes in the building, so we got to make a distinction of which one we talking about here.
We got to get these names coordinated, nicknames.
And we both in the background, so you got to figure that part out too.
And then, first of all, so guys, welcome back. I'm super excited. We have there's a lot of things that's happening. Josh, thank you so much. Like I said, once again, just for being here. And, we got a lot of things happening with Genius. And then, of course, we're outside this summer. So we got a lot of things happening.
I ain't been outside in a minute, so.
Oh, we know you're going to cut up.
Oh, what?
You're going to cut up outside.
Extra outside.
I'm going to be outside.
Listen, we got a whole tent outside, okay? We're just going to be outside in the tent.
That's
all
it.
Right? First of all, shout out to all the tourists, because it's tourist season, for those who have birthdays. Shout out to all you guys. I know, of course,
all the tourists.
You vibe with tourists? You good? No vibe?
Yeah, we okay.
You okay? All right.
You have a love-hate relationship.
It's just like me and cancers. I don't know what it is.
Don't give me. Do not give me started on cancer, man. Don't give me.
We got a nice cordial relationship going on, but it's okay.
It's a bittersweet thing, But Red
More bitter than sweet.
Yeah. I promise you guys, we're not a relationship podcast.
But if you want us to be.
Listen, we got some stories.
Listen, do it.
I think all 3 of us.
Listen,
Between us,
It's a trilogy.
We got a whole trilogy. Yes.
whole trilogy.
We got a soap opera for 10 seasons.
Listen. Now you know we talk, bro. You know we've been trying to say we got to put together some series. We got to do something.
We
got
did
some
life
stuff coming
together.
up.
We got
we got some stuff
some
coming
stories.
up. First off, a couple of celebrities that definitely celebrated their birthday. So Redman, Chance the Rapper, and I want to come back to that. Chance the Rapper. We're going to talk about that. The Brat, of course, and congratulations to them because the Brat and her wife, they actually just, I think they just premiered. They didn't have the baby yet, but they just premiered their new season for, was it Judy Loves Brat, Judy, or the Brat Loves Judy, something like that. In that sense, they love each other. That's all that matters. I think this is season 2, season 3, one of it. But congratulations to them. Okay. Of course, Killer Mike, and which I love Killer Mike, and he's getting ready to drop a whole new album pretty soon. Avant and Lizzo and Kalani. So happy birthday to
them.
All of them.
Say one thing. Why they replace Redman on Power? I don't understand. That's all I'm going to say.
They did what?
They replaced
Redman
him
on Power.
Yeah.
On Ghost.
Yeah.
You watch Ghost?
Look, he lost in the sauce.
So for all the Power watchers, I am so sorry. I have not been keeping up. I have to go back and start the season, this past season, because I have not watched not one episode. And my friends,
I ain't gonna lie, I just got caught up.
I'm in a Ghost Power group chat, and I am lost at this point. I am lost. So I'm gonna get myself together.
It's all right.
I'm gonna get myself together.
Come back.
And we're gonna come back.
Spin the block on us real quick, when you come back, all right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know, but I actually like Redman for his character. Like, I really think, like, he's been, because I think it was for Christmas then when obviously we know how high we've seen Redman in rare form. But then he has been done interviews where he's talked about, wanting to take acting a little bit more serious, really kind of want to dig into a couple of more different roles. Yeah, I saw him because he was in one of, it's not Neo's movie, but it was one of the holiday films that this past December or something like that. Okay. He did a role in, which was actually pretty good. He played the dad. He kind of, in some stuff, he was just like, all right, this is like really him. But he did amazing, hands down. And this role in Ghost, I thought this was very befitting for him. But I don't know. Maybe there could have been a conflict. I don't know. He hasn't really. I haven't seen him really speak on it.
Nobody said anything, and it's just like 1 week, new guy came in. We're like, hold up.
Like, wait, this face different.
This is not Redman. And I liked it because I was like, oh, Meth and Red are working together again. Like,
I know, right?
I'm like, okay, this is cool.
Although, disclaimer, I really wish they could have just did a How High 2 just with them. I don't.
Child, please.
Anyway.
I feel like Power knows how to find the actors to fit the personalities of the roles. They're good at finding the right person. I don't think they've had a character in that role misplaced, not like for one person.
Of course not. I agree with that.
And for Method Man's character, you could tell like how inundated he was with that role, and how serious he was taking on a convincing, conniving lawyer.
He plays it so well,
and he did it so convincingly.
It was just so good.
It fit him.
Too good, because I was like, Matt, are you really?
Right. So I think this would be great for us to see him in more serious roles where we actually look at him differently, not as Method Man, Mary J. Blige, You're All I Need, but just a different version of Method Man than we've seen in the past. I think this was good for him. And who knows, we might see him in a movie or something else.
Acting.
Yeah, but more so the other serious roles this. This was really good. I enjoy
I like
watching
it. He kind of, it's like, it's out of his element.
Out of his
You know,
element.
not
And
the hood,
Yeah.
dope boy
yeah,
type.
Tim jeans,
Yeah.
on the
But
block,
we
kind of.
like
We
that.
love
We
that.
love
I
Don't
mean, we
get me
like a
wrong.
little, listen,
I like
we like a little hood.
Yeah, I
And we
love
like a
that.
little
You know, he was
classy.
he was the hood lawyer too. He had a little hood.
Yeah, you got
he
you know,
gave you
when
a
he
little-
threw that little flex with his, you know.
Absolutely,
You know.
absolutely.
Listen,
It's good to have a little hood in you from time to
I
time.
love it.
Show up.
Listen, for all you guys that can be hood and those who can turn in classic boy, Danielle.
Oh my gosh. No,
Ladies and gentlemen, Danielle,
oh,
she's outside.
Get in the DM.
She's outside.
All
Pin her
right,
in the comments.
we're gonna swing it back to a dating show soon. We're gonna find. All right, so let's go over this music real quick. We got a couple of albums that had dropped, surprise albums as well. First of all, so speaking of Jack Harlow,
out of nowhere.
he literally made a post Wednesday, album out on Friday.
Yo, that was dope.
But I did listen, so it's called Jackman. I really love this, and I love the scenery around it because, of course, we just got the trailer for White Man Can't Jump, the updated version.
Which, honestly, I'm not mad about. People are pissed, but I'm not. It looks.
I think it looks dope.
Saw the trailer last night. I like it.
It looks dope, although we need to wait for the movie. I want to see the movie because, sometimes the trailers can be given, and then when you get there, you're like, ugh.
But I think like people are just like annoyed with the fact that Hollywood's just like doing remakes of like everything.
Everything.
And it's like, all right.
And it's like some classics you just don't want touched.
Yeah. But like looking at the trailer, it's like, it doesn't, like the thought when they first said, oh, we're going to remake White Man Can't Jump. And then I saw the trailer, I was like, it's not bad. Like it doesn't look bad.
Mm-hmm. And I'm not going to lie, I'm going to take back because I made a comment because originally Quavo said that he wanted to play opposite of him. And I was just like, Quavo acting? But then I saw Praise This. And I saw Quavo, and I was like, oh, because you really getting in your element.
I still haven't seen
That was an acting coach. You got to credit the acting coach. I
mean,
don't think that was Quavo
But
alone.
he gave it, he presented it, though. He
Yeah.
gave that role. Like, he did it. Like, it was...
I didn't recognize him, so he did a good job.
He did a good job. I think it was amazing of how he was. I know. I know Danielle didn't see it, but you have to watch it.
You gotta watch it.
It's actually pretty good. And shout out to Drewski because he did.
Really?
He
No, y'all make me
hands
watch
down
Let me-
did amazing.
So can we talk about the soundtrack of Praise
Yes,
This?
let's talk about
Like
that real quick.
like Chloe, like how they were able to mash these songs perfectly.
Cardi agreed
Cardi agreed.
with every bit of it.
Listen, it was phenomenally produced, lyrics. It was a great combination. You don't normally see a good fit of gospel and R&B mashes that work very well. This movie, it worked. Whoever put that together,
It was perfect.
Yeah.
it was.
watch
It
it.
was.
You gotta
and
watch
then
it,
on top
please.
of that, how she was able to like be in that space where she was able to. You knew she was an R&B chick singing gospel records. Were like.
Because I
classic.
was like, it's because
Classic.
I think I made a comment when we first announced it on our Instagram. It was like, it's like Pitch Perfect meets what I was looking for, like Sister Act in a sense. It's like it's
The perfect combination.
yeah. It was like it was a combination I didn't know like we really needed. Like it was something like that way just to take the hip hop and the R&B, and then on top of that, give it more a millennium to Gen Z feel for the audience. Like I
the
thought
storyline
they
wasn't boring
really
either.
captured that.
Yeah, the storyline wasn't boring either.
Oh no, it kept my attention because
The whole
I
time.
honestly, I'm not even gonna say because I did judge it at first because I was like, oh my god, they just grabbed a bunch of characters and people just to slap into a film. They just wanted to try to get, but honestly, I feel like that was theater worthy. I really feel like it was theater worthy.
Yeah, it would have did good in the theaters. It would have at least top 10, I'm not sure about top 5, but it would definitely been top 10.
Yeah.
For sure.
All right. Cool. G Herbo, strictly for my fans too. Not a huge fan of his, but what?
We all know how you feel. You
Feels like
on
it's
your
not for
face
me.
right now.
Not that I'm not a fan. It's just this is for the younger folks. This is not
Yeah.
this is not for auntie.
She says not for the aunties. No. He got a couple of songs that, you know, I definitely can, I feel like I can vibe to or whatever the deal is, but it's a no. Baby Rose, through and through. I really do like her.
I love her voice.
Her voice is amazing, very unique. I don't even know. I feel like I just want to see a little bit more, definitely from her. I don't know if it's more on the feature side, like, you know, like really gravitating, because I feel like we got some artists that's really like coming in and kind of blowing the spot. Like, you know, we got Lola Brooke, we got, you know, Scarlett that's actually taking up the scene right now. Who else we have? Gorilla. It's a lot of females that's out here that's really kind of blowing up the spot right now.
I think you'll probably see more females as the years go on. I think you'll start to see them more, like you see like male artists. Like, you know how they come out in groups or in waves? Like, you'll get like 3 dope R&B artists that really come out of nowhere and do really well. And then you'll get some, whoever that was. All right.
God bless you.
God bless you. God bless you.
I knew I wasn't the only one. Because I saw Josh, I'm like, nah.
Whatever that interruption was, we appreciate it. We appreciate you tremendously.
I'm glad you said so because I wanted to bust out.
It's like, do we stop or do we continue?
Let's keep it moving.
Yeah, I think you'll begin to see like more artists, female artists in waves, the same way you see male artists in waves. It ain't gonna be like back in the day. At one point, it was Nicki and like 2 other artists, 2 other female artists. The list is about to get a little bit longer for female artists, whether that's R&B or hip hop, and it's really starting to pick up like the what can I say, the waves that have been made for female artists to like really do what they do on a mainstream level. So big up to all the female artists out there that's really killing.
Yeah.
You know, your time is now, so get out there and grind. Do your thing.
Shout out to women.
Right. And then really quickly, just to go through the rest, of course, we have T Grizzly and Skilla, Baby with Controversy. This one was actually pretty good. I think I love this more on a production side. I wasn't really too keen on the lyrics, but
The music is slapping though.
the music was good. Like
slapping.
I enjoyed the beats. But speaking of beats, Swiss Beats actually dropped album in honor of the 50th birthday celebration for hip hop, which was Hip Hop 50, and this was the Volume 2 EP. This was really good. You know, I've always loved Swiss Beats as far as he's one of top producers for me, next to Timbaland, next to Missy, next to a lot of people in regards to music. So he definitely did his thing. And speaking of Swiss, I mean, I don't know if you guys caught, you know, he was trying to give a little tea on Miss Onika and Little Kim. But do y'all think it's actually gonna go down with a versus between Nicki and Kim?
See it.
No.
I'm a Barb. I'm an only
Yes.
time Mirage.
No.
child.
Now, you know what I would love to see? I probably won't happen, is a tour between them 2.
It won't.
I don't think
It's
that's
not.
that. It's not gonna
And I feel like with the verses, like it's not gonna happen. One, because
Because I mean, he was kind of giving a lot of, you know, feel like it's going to go down.
I don't see it, because one, they're 2 different eras. Like it makes sense if it's Kim and Foxy, because they're the same era. They came up at the same time. But Kim and Nicki make absolutely no sense.
I think it might make sense for the reason of
Queen versus Queen.
Queen versus Queen, and then you have you have the original number one artist who excelled and made the blueprint, and somebody literally that came right behind her, right? Think of another female artist outside of Little Kim that did the same numbers as Nicki, or even from a brand and image, the nostalgia of the music,
Touché.
the personality. She
Touché.
checked off all the boxes of a Kim. Why you think she was compared so much to her?
Because as much as Foxy definitely like was that chick, the numbers never pulled the way Nicki pulled or Little Kim pulled, things like that. So, respect to Foxy. She held it down for, the all dark-skinned female rappers, that really came through. It just didn't hit in the sense of how once Kim made that blueprint and then Nicki for, I guess in that, late 90s to early 2000s time really kind of came through and just kind of blew it out the water.
Nobody was listening. Nobody, I don't think.
After Eve.
So
then also you had Remy.
I mean, we had, right.
You have Remy.
Remy and Eve, I would put in the
And Trina.
And Trina, I would put them in a different category. But that whole nostalgia of, or lack of a better words, replica. Like Nicki's her own person, but just the whole brand of how she became a whole movement.
And the crossover, the mainstream.
And a crossover. Like her hip hop pop records was selling just as bad as her records. Like who was doing that other than a Kim?
She got K-pop songs.
Yep.
She got songs with.
I mean, she did.
What didn't she do though?
Coretta,
What didn't she touch?
Yeah.
The only thing she didn't touch that I feel like you see oftentimes with male artists, and I would like female artists. I think K. Michelle is trying to do this. Country music.
Country.
Like you saw Jay get into some country feels, some
Rock.
pop feels, some rock feels.
Yep.
But Nicki, if she would have did that, she would have touched many different genres as what a B is trying to do right now. She just got finished doing the pop record. It wouldn't be remiss if we heard B come out with a country R&B record.
Well, who you said Beyonce?
Beyonce.
Well, she did a country. Daddy
Daddy
Lessons
Lessons
was a country song.
But more so like
You were talking about like a full
album.
yeah.
like
You
style.
remember how Jay did like a
Okay.
full like the Jay and the Limp Bizkit record?
Yep.
You remember that?
Linkin Park.
Linkin Park. There we go. I was like,
I said
not
Limp
Limp
Bizkit. Jay and Linkin Park. That was a full record.
That was
Yeah.
that album was.
You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
that was fire.
Yeah.
So think about it like that. Like if a Nicki touched that, then it would have been. I mean, where would you have put her? I mean, again, Lil' Kim laid the blueprint, but outside of the Eves, the Trinas, all those amazing artists, the next one you got to do just as big and as bad of a record and a brand was Nicki Minaj. So I
Does Cardi count with Maroon 5?
Now, if we want to go Cardi, I'll say this, and I probably will get hate mail, but Cardi is in the line of, she's touching the line of, what's the woman's name? Lauryn Hill. One record that became a classic, and that did
her album.
multiple platinum. It's still selling.
Yeah.
And she only came out with one record. She hasn't even come. Like we don't know if she's going to come out with another
And
one.
I think
Well,
it already
she's
had
talked-
certified.
She's talked about
Yeah,
trying to come back out.
it just was certified what? Double platinum, triple platinum again?
I think it was either double or triple.
Triple. I did see something concerning her being certified
And
again.
she has a diamond.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we're talking one record, legacy album. Now I do believe that she'll probably come out with another record, but like, how? I mean, what can you do with that? Like your first one was a banger, and you haven't came out
did
since.
Did she get a Grammy off of that too?
She won like a
Multiple
few.
awards.
She won a few Grammys off that record.
Multiple
So
awards off that.
for me, that's like Lauryn Hill status.
Yeah.
When you could come out with a one banger and people still killing that record years later. So yeah.
All right. All right. And so far as singles and what we have, so we had Coily Ray with Bops, Lola Brooke, Just Relax, which
This is her time.
this is it for her. I mean, this Lola is coming through, okay? Then we have Big Frida and Sierra with $100 Bill.
Mm-hmm.
Giving that Nola feel. Very much Nola.
Very.
I like Nola, that Nola sound.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's Sierra Lane too. You know what I'm saying? She like that,
Like
dance,
fun
like very
records,
fun, give it up type twerk music. Then we have Rico Nasty. I don't think she get a lot of respect, but Turn It Up. I thought this was pretty good. I like Rico Nasty.
I like her.
I don't think she
I
get
get jiggy with her.
I don't think she get a lot of respect, but she did. Then we have Khalid and Kenzo B with Area Codes. This one was pretty good. I don't know if you guys got onto them, but definitely check it out. Miguel.
Miguel.
Miguel. All right. Wait, we don't want Spanish to Jamaican over here. Give it to me. Anything he does. Actually, did he announce that he's doing the tour too?
I don't know.
I think he announced that he has a tour. Look, everybody got a
The
tour.
whole music industry outside.
Everybody, the whole
everybody.
I
industry.
can't do it. I'm broke.
Everybody
I'm
outside.
poor.
First of all, can I say something?
I'm poor.
Drake, where's my camera? Jules, where's my
That
camera? Where's my camera?
The
This
middle.
That
okay.
one.
Drake, first of all, you're gonna add another show, and you ain't even had the nerve to lower the prices.
Nah. He on
You
that
never had the
Beyonce.
nerve to lower the prices.
He on that Beyonce Coachella wave.
But see, Beyonce tickets was not even as much as Drake was selling
Exactly.
for.
It wasn't.
No.
No.
And we almost lost our friendship over trying to get Beyonce tickets.
What?
Almost not.
We're not friends ever again.
No.
Over
Because of
Beyonce.
It was because of
prices?
Beyonce
Wow.
Like,
and Ticketmaster.
that's
crazy.
a story for another day.
Yes, but we love each other. We're all good. We're mended.
We're girlfriends.
So right. So yeah, I just want to say, first of all, Drake,
Lower them prices.
F you and Ticketmaster. How dare you?
It's a lot going on. Like
I can't.
SWV, Jodeci, Drew Hill. They
Yes.
outside.
We was just talking about Jasmine Sullivan.
Jasmine
Sullivan.
Sullivan. My favorite artist, Robert Glasper. Oh my God, all in the same weekend. Shout out to my bosses, Celine Johnson and
Yeah,
Dr.
shout
Felicia
out.
Johnson. We outside all June, acoustic summer tour. Catch us in your cities.
got
I'll be
promo?
road managing.
Yes.
I'll be doing my thing. on the road
Congrats. Woo.
managing. But everybody outside.
Everybody outside.
Everybody's outside.
Everybody dropping a tour.
Just be safe,
Yes. Danny Lay, Tasty.
That's
I mean,
beautiful.
she has worked very hard and did this promo in regards to this. I love the cover art. Some people are still kind of dwelling on the whole Yellow Bone situation. But I'm like, listen, we moving forward. She's happy. She's in a space. She's giving us new music. I love it. It's amazing. I threw this one in here. This did release a few weeks ago. Angie Stone and Music Soul Child with The Gym. So, of course, we know Angie Stone, who's dynamic in the music industry in regards to soul music and things. And she coming back out. She's looking good. Of course. She done lost some more weight. She's looking amazing. I don't know if this song was it. The Gym. Now it just gives me that I need to hear the album. I need the album. Let me see where this concept where is this going? No?
No comment.
Okay. Well, Angie, we love you. We're glad to see that you're back out and you're doing music. And of course, I love Soul Child, so it is what it is. I don't know. Take it away, my darling.
I'm sorry. People are crazy. I'll just say that. And it has nothing to do with this. Just people are crazy. Okay, so our indie music list. So we have Danielle Aasha with A Girl's Perspective.
Good music.
Azana, All Me. Alexia J, I Need a Man. MK, don't do me like that.
Inge,
Nge,
aka Mook. That's
I
one of
don't
my
wanna do
closest
that.
friends.
I apologize. Made for this. So definitely check out all your independent artists. They need your support. I say this every month. They need your support just like you support your Beyonce, just like you support your Drakes, just like you support your Jay-Z's. Okay, so support the independent artists.
Shout out to Mook for the single Made for This under the label of Anderson Music Group. They're doing really great. Shout out to Anderson Music Group, everybody that's a part of that roster. Adam Blackstone on his records. Who else is with them? Stella, I believe. There's a few. AKA Tiffany, what's her last name? She just got married. I forgot her last name, but they know what I'm talking about. Shout out to everybody with Anderson, especially Mook. I work closely with her, and she's a great person, and an amazing artist. She has other music that's available too, but her recent single Made for This is available, so y'all go get that. Y'all go pick that up.
Yes,
Shout out to her and the squad.
all the artists. Shout out to the whole team over there that he just shouted out.
Yeah, they killing.
All right. So listen, guys. I definitely forgot to put the upcoming music in. And that's my fault. But we got some new. There's music. I know there's a couple of people that's actually getting ready to drop some new music. So first of all, let's shout out to LL Cool J, who just announced this past week that he's doing a tour.
Yes.
I'm gonna be at one of them shows.
I'm gonna be at one of them. Listen, got to. This is his first tour in 30 years. I mean, he said he did his interview. He said that he is doing it big. He's doing it big.
Coming out.
He said he has everyone
The big guns
coming. And I feel like if this is gonna be your first tour in 30 years and you're LL, where your music still reigns like heavily, man, you have to do it big.
I was just listening to, it's not a popular song, but on the GOAT record, he has a song called Hello. He has a song called Hello. So all my classic heads who got that GOAT record, he has on like the baby blue, what is it, sweat outfit? with the baby blue cap.
It's the whole matching outfit.
The
velour
outfit.
suit, the velour.
The velour.
When you listen to that record, there's a song called Hello.
Yeah, Gen Z's
I've
right now
been
know nothing
blowing
about
that
that.
song up all week.
Listen,
I've been blowing that song up all week, and I don't know what it is because
I
sometimes
want to
I'm in
hear
Queens.
class, and as much as I love everything L has, I want to hear classic LL. I want to hear Mama Gonna Knock You Out. I want to hear
Doing it.
Yes, doing it. You know, tell me some Uncle L. You know, I want to hear all of that. You know, I want to see him lick his lips. You know, I want to
Not the
all the women want to see him take off his shirt as classic LL.
I don't know. He might can keep the shirt on. I don't. I don't think I want to see that.
Him and Tank do the same thing. After halfway.
Now
through
Tank,
the
I
record.
will see.
She like, ain't nothing gonna get between me and my man.
It's nothing, you know. And also, first of all, prayers up to, because of course the legendary Harry can't even say it. Passed away. Harry Belafonte.
Belafonte.
I don't know why it was such
Harry
a tongue twister.
Belafonte.
Yes, thank you, guys. Such a tongue twister for me tonight. Today, passed away. This week, and of course we had artists like Usher, who actually, who paid homage to him. He actually had a tattoo of him, and talk about the music that he gave and how he changed the spectrum when it comes to acting and being a black man that's giving in this industry. So definitely want to send prayers out to his friends, to his family. I mean, he was 96 or 98. 90 something years old, but I mean,
in the 90s.
Yes, he was in the 90s. But man,
he's a legend.
So
very much a classic legend who's paved the way for a lot of people. So
yes,
It's not even like music, acting,
yes,
everything.
civil rights, like
He touched everything.
everything,
For sure.
dancing, all like man, what did you not
he
do?
was a Renaissance man.
And also to Toni Braxton, who actually spoke out about, you know, obviously after her sister passed away, Tracy Braxton passed away. She just thought she was just, you know, mourning, and she was just her, but who actually had to undergo emergency heart surgery due to a blocked artery, and you know they said that she could have died. So you know we want to shout out to her because you know she's now advocating that listen, we gotta listen to our bodies. We have to listen to it. And I know so much even for us as creatives, like we get so caught up in just trying to keep going and try to get to the next thing. And it's just like sometimes you just gotta chill out. Like I'm so thankful for this rainy weekend because literally just
Slowed you
inside
down.
just relax.
Don't know that's so super
Slowed you
fact.
down.
Yeah.
That's a whole fact.
So yes, let's get into these topics.
Oh wait, can I just say
Oh
real
wait,
quick?
go ahead.
Rest in peace, Jerry Springer. I'm sorry.
Yes.
Like,
I know he's not music and things like that, but Jerry,
it's
we grew up with Jerry.
Like we did. Like you think about it, you be homesick. You drinking the ginger ale, eating ramen noodle soup.
He be like, what's on TV?
Noodles, like
Everybody knew when 11 o'clock came what time
I
it
mentioned
was.
the time now.
Jerry.
You knew what time.
10 was
Listen,
Maury.
Right.
11 was Jerry.
No,
Yep.
so my lineup was, and if you were true TV head, 9 o'clock was Ricky Late. We're gonna
about
take it back.
that.
9 o'clock was Ricky Late. 10 o'clock was Maury. And then 11 o'clock was Jerry Springer. You had Ratchet TV before Ratchet TV
What?
existed.
It
You had
really
people telling their
was.
business about what was going on before we even got a Love and Hip Hop or any of those
That is a
shows.
fact.
So shout out to all of the classic shows that I grew up on, the Ricky Lates, the Maury's,
Yep. Jenny Jones.
Jenny Jones,
That was my
This Not Your
girl.
Baby. Oh my God, storming out. I knew it wasn't my baby. I knew it was. You know,
I know
you are not the father.
99.9% that is your child.
Yo.
You are the baby daddy.
So if you grew up in that era, that man paved the way for what we
Yeah.
love and know as Ratchet TV.
His security
today.
guard, Steve.
Wilco.
He got a
yeah,
show
he
too.
ended up getting a show from
He ended up the bodyguard. Ended up being a talk show host.
Yeah.
Now that tells you something right there.
Yes, yes, definitely.
Man, rest in peace.
Rest in peace, Jerry.
Rest in peace.
Because you
It
definitely
was like
gave
a
it to
family
us.
member. Like, damn.
And
The only show you gonna get.
Yo, you gonna get everything.
You get
you gonna get
Going
the
around.
hood people coming on the show talking about their whole business of what's going on
That's
in the
a
household.
fact.
Yep.
And then you gonna get the I guess the nostalgia of what would surprise you on a TV TV show you wouldn't
No,
expect.
the best would be like, oh, I have a no. There was one of this guys. Sorry, real quick.
Yep, no problem.
He was like, oh, I have to confess to my girlfriend, and
Child,
so
these
she comes
confessions.
out. He's like, yeah, I want to confess. He's like, I'm black. She was like, you're what? And she was a white girl, like. Like you can see he's black. She's like, "What do you mean you're black?" Like obviously, obviously it's his face. She's like, "You're," and she said, that. She was like, "You're an N-word. You're an N-word. You're an N-word." He was just like,
And
I was like, man.
and Jerry Springer was showing love to the the community.
"The what?
The what?
Elemental P community.
that.
Oh no!
Don't we don't do that here. Don't do that."
I can't say it all. I can't say
Okay,
it all.
so there we go.
Yeah, so
LGBTQIA plus community.
okay,
There
so
we
say it
go.
for me one more time.
LGBTQIA plus
Right.
Yes.
Yeah,
element.
with the plus. He was showing love to their community before their community was acknowledged. Because you remember,
very true.
You remember some of the episodes where it would be like, oh, my girl Tasha found out that I was messing with another woman, and we come to find out Tasha was
A man.
was a man.
Was a man.
So we got everything before we got everything. If that makes sense.
It was pure entertainment.
It was entertaining. I mean, facts though.
Yeah,
Very much facts.
we got everything before we got everything.
It made staying home from school sick. Like it made it fun.
Really fun.
Like
Very much so. So
That's why I said, oh, you need your ginger ale, because you know ginger ale, black people in the household, ginger ale make you feel better. Your oodles
I
and
don't know.
noodles
That
and
was,
Jerry
that
Right.
was
Springer.
like
And some
the-
tea. You got to drink
You
some.
gotta
You,
have some tea.
you got to at least have something
Yeah,
that
have-
replicate being sick.
All right, let's get
Ooh,
into
the
it.
days. Anyway. All right, so first topic. So, of course, listen, I had to add this one in here because I thought this was very interesting and very true. So, singer Brian McKnight, he is getting a lot of backlash in regards to the fact that he made this nice, beautiful post because I won't say he recently got remarried. I mean, it's new. It's within the past three to 4 years or whatever that he remarried, and obviously have newer children. His older children obviously was from his past relationships, who was with a black woman, and he has more darker toned children. And his current children are more mixed. They're biracial. So he's receiving backlash because of the posts that he put. So him and his current wife, they got their daughter, who just recently turned like 16 or 17 or whatever, a brand new car. Now, the issue is what he captioned. He captioned that, you
I'll
made
read
me.
it verbatim.
Yes, please.
Today we celebrate you, Jules, on your birthday. Your mom and I couldn't be prouder of you, and I couldn't ask for a better daughter than you. Happy birthday to the best daughter ever. Love you a zillion. Now, how many daughters does he have?
He has another. He has, I believe. Well, before this one, he has an oldest daughter, who actually made him a girl dad first. But he acknowledged Zillion. That's her name. Is that her name?
No, her name. No, he said love you a zillion.
Oh, I love you as a. Oh, I thought, okay.
Girl, that's McKinney.
Okay. Child, I can't keep up. Acknowledging that she made him a girl dad, but totally forgetting that you have a whole grown daughter.
You want to know something that's funny? He has 2 sons named Brian.
Yeah.
So he already has one that's a junior, and then he has a newer one, Brian.
And he's named Brian as well. And then, hold on, there's more. There's more. In his, so on our Instagrams, on our social media, when you go and you have like your profile, he put that he's the father and names all the current children you have, leaving off the oldest children.
Yeah. No comment. I don't know what to say to that. I think I'm not sure if that was intentional, deliberate, or if he was just trying to.
Or maybe he feel like, look, I didn't have enough room.
Well, not even that. I think when
To put all these
so
names.
I'll say this. I think with I don't know this for sure, but this is just my personal idea of what he probably would be thinking putting a post like this. I almost feel like you're kind of stuck with what you want to acknowledge. And because there may be some sensitivity around certain areas of different children, you don't want to cause or bring light to something or someone that's not necessarily at a healed point. Not to not talk about or say that he has other children, but because there's probably something going on that, excuse me, the general public does not know about,
Very true.
I don't really feel like I should open up about these particular kids. And I'm not trying to say I'm not acknowledging them, but that's a topic for a later time if I choose to acknowledge. How many times do I'm not saying us, but we know other scenarios with other people and they're only selecting to choose this particular situation or these particular people for various reasons.
I mean, true.
But it's like, those are kids.
But
Yeah,
I
but
feel like,
who's to suggest, he's not going through something with his oldest daughter? Him and his older daughter.
well,
Not saying
it's
eye to
very
eye.
clear because she posted on her page and she said, he was absent. But then I think about Nas, when Nas talked about in his latest single about
On the Swiss Beat.
His
his
daughter.
daughter,
Yeah.
and saying that it's not that he wasn't trying to be a father. It was just like, it was the timing of where his career was and what was happening at that present moment and things that he missed. And as we know, Brian McKnight, I mean, he was that dude in the 90s, you know?
I'm sure he was booked for weddings every day, every week, every hour.
You know, and
That still doesn't excuse.
right. And I don't take it lightly in regards to the fact that, you know, maybe he has the opportunity now to kind of step in and father in a way that he couldn't father.
I agree.
In the sense of at that time frame, because like I said, his kids are grown. Mm-hmm. So during that time frame, they would have been young in the 90s. So of course he was big. He was on TV shows. He was touring. He was, you know, like that R&B dude.
I can understand that because, you know, mm-hmm. I'm a father. Your niece Charlie. I could never see myself not acknowledging her.
And that's where I have the trouble is like the acknowledgement part.
I couldn't see myself not acknowledging. And I do agree with what you're saying. And because of the whole Nas situation, he was very open about where he was as a father with his daughter and what he had to do to get that back. You know, He said that in his last record concerning I think an open letter to his daughter, right? So because we know that, and you know the sensitivity around fathers and daughters, mm-hmm. especially with where we are in society today, I could never see myself not acknowledging my daughter. Shout out to Charlie, Charlie J.L. Salter. Love you dearly. Mwah.
Hi, Niecy.
That's beautiful.
I just think that because obviously Bree did post something as well on her page and stating, you know, how.
Yeah.
It don't seem like, you know, he was very much there and that she felt like it was like a slap in the face not to acknowledge. Them and things of that nature. But I do think there's some things in the background that does need to work out. I think, you know, of course, the public, the media takes it, they run with it. But I really think, in all honesty, and this is why I wanted to say this on this podcast, because I think that he's just in a different stage of his life where he does have that opportune moment to say, I am a dad and I have more kids. Because, I mean, this man is well in his 50s still having babies. You know what I'm saying? So
let me ask y'all a question. So as older women now, if that was your pops and you had a relationship with him, might not have been the best, that's a quick phone call after y'all saw that post, right? Mm-hmm. Like yo, what you mean by this? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
absolutely.
How are y'all addressing that as?
Oh yeah, I think I think for me, I'm more of a person. It's like I don't want to jump to conclusions. You know, when I see something, I rather ask the source and be like, hey, before I make my own assumption, because sometimes what we think and what somebody else, what they feel like their intentions were, are something totally different. Because like you said, it could have just been, you know, he was kind of just focusing on the right then and right now type moment or whatever the deal is, not
paying attention
or thinking
yeah.
that this can be something that affects somebody. So yeah, I mean, if my father was still living and he did something of that nature, that sense, you know, I'd be like, hey, Dad, you know, I'm glad you know how to do IG, but
but it's like all right, I know we're not like a red table talk,
right?
But it's like, okay,
we're gonna get to that.
We'll get to
it. You have sisters,
right?
So if like your dad, if he did post like, okay, Aisha, you are the best daughter anybody can ask for, I'm pretty sure you and your other sisters.
I'm like, she ain't came up by herself.
Like, yeah, so it's like,
we twins.
What do you like? How do you address that? You know?
Yeah.
Like,
and I mean,
that probably wasn't his intention to say like you are a great daughter, but he could have worded it different.
He probably just could have worded different. And I feel like men has a different perspective than how some females,
men just be slow. I'm sorry.
Sometimes we do.
And I think just men sometimes just don't really know how to think outside the box or really, you know, put those things together, things of that nature.
Tunnel vision.
Yeah.
We see everything else, but sometimes we just like, and then for moms, wives, sisters, aunties, nieces, it's great that y'all have this awareness to kind of help us like pay attention to everything outside of the box.
Women are needed. Black women
You know,
are
y'all,
needed.
you know, we're here with it, and y'all like, no, all this too. And we're like, oh yeah, this is here.
And it's
I
so
do- I
funny
do gotta
because
see
Jeremy,
this.
when he does decide to post something once a year, he asks me to look and put his keys. Like, can you do my captions?
I like this picture. Can you put this up for me? Is this right?
Right, like this good? Did I go? And it's amazing. But I think that, you know, with Brian McKnight, I think he had good heart. I think he had goodwill. Did it trigger some things for maybe his children? Yes, it could, because maybe they didn't bond, like you said, behind the camera. Maybe they didn't mend everything that they should have mended. You know, maybe they didn't have those talks yet, you know, and it's a possibility. You know, look at Kirk Franklin and his son. Like,
Yeah,
you know,
the oldest one.
He's little, he gone. Now he on Bad Boys of whatever. But, yes.
Yeah.
But, you know, and we see those relationships play out via social media because, you know, Kirk Franklin will post pictures with him, Tammy, and all the other kids. And he's like, where was my invite? You know, and I think that just sometimes, I think it's just like you said, it's this behind the scene, you know, trying and things that we don't see, and obviously it just plays out in front of us. So,
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree.
Moving on.
moving on.
Speaking of Red Table Talk, Nick Cannon calls Red Table Talk toxic since its cancellation.
Man.
So recently, you know, Facebook, they announced that they're going to cancel like all their Facebook Watch shows, and Red Table Talk happened to be included in the line of shows that were canceled. So it's not just, I don't want people thinking like, oh, Red Table Talk is the only show that's being canceled. It's
No, they
all the
Meta let go of everything.
yeah, so like Gloria Estefan she had a show with her family. I think there was a couple other people who had shows, but everything's getting canceled. So Nick Cannon, he did an interview and he spoke out, and he was explaining that he feels that Red Table Talk is the reason why Will Smith slapped Chris Rock. And he calls the show toxic. So what do you guys think? How do you guys feel? Because I feel
We gonna go with that. That's the reason that, I mean, this
So-
kind of goes back
I feel like
sometime.
that, you know, Will Smith was in control of his actions. Like, you can't
That part.
necessarily blame it on a show.
That part.
I mean, I feel like the show did contribute to a lot of people looking in and having a perspective on their relationship, because
She wanted to talk about her entanglements.
well, no, the only reason why she spoke about it was because August Alsina, he did an interview with Angela Yee, and he spoke about it. So that therefore caused them to have a whole conversation
effect.
about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, understood. They had the conversation, but I mean, dang, like,
Because I like with the episodes that I did see when I used to watch it, it seemed a little like, you know, people come on, it would be a little therapeutic and
Yeah,
just,
healing.
like something for them to just talk about, you know, like it was something positive.
it was.
Because,
It
you know,
was.
black people, we don't talk.
Yep.
I think just because it's out in the open don't mean it's therapeutic or don't mean it's healing.
That part.
And I think the idea, now during the pandemic, I like the fact that having the idea of having open conversations because of isolation and everybody not being able to kind of having the freedom that we have now again to have open conversations, that was needed. But I don't necessarily think,
And with a black family.
and with a black family.
That's
so
what I said, like, I think-
the dynamic of what we looked at as the model family. Some of us did. Now, there's some pushback on people saying, "Oh, I never viewed them as a model family, whatever." But whenever we saw Will and Jada in those
And the
pictures,
kids, yeah.
we were posting relationship
Yeah,
goals,
goals,
family
yeah.
goals. We were, you know what I'm saying? And now that we see them in a very different light,
And we know what's going on.
and we know
in
what's
their-
happening.
yeah.
Some of the speculations are found to be true. Some of those speculations we're still trying to guess to find out if they're true or not. But at the same time, it's causing much more of an open discussion that we weren't having prior to. Now, I do agree that it was low-key toxic because just because I'm having a conversation with you regarding something I need to be open about, I'm not saying that they did this, but some of the conversations seemed not to be like, you know how like we have a conversation before we talk about things in the public,
Yeah.
and there is a conversation before a conversation.
Like, listen, we only gonna talk about point A, B, C. We're gonna leave D through E and everything else out.
Because you want some level of discretion
Yeah.
in your personal life. I don't think they were practicing discretion with what they were doing. And Red Table Talk started to be toxic because people don't want all their stuff out there. No matter if you're the dopest family or matter if you're just doing an interview. Some people just want some level of discretion because everything, again, that is open doesn't mean that it's going to heal publicly. As we, like the replica of those conversations ended in something bad. And because it was open, I don't think it was the right time to talk about a lot of that stuff.
That's what I debate, because I feel like sometimes the timing. So for instance, I feel like when they first initially started Red Table Talk, I love the purpose behind it.
Yeah, because it showed you, okay, you can have a discussion with your family about things that you were uncomfortable about. Like it
now that Willow.
Listen.
Now that Willow, I'm like, child, honey girls, just sit back with the hums and ums and
too much leeway on that part, but I'm not.
You ain't had that much experience, sweetie. I'm like,
I'm gonna leave that one alone.
Like, simmer down.
Jules, you can edit that part out.
I'm like, girl, you acting like you've been through all this. But it, like, I feel it. I love the idea of it showed families, more specifically Black families, because we don't like to talk. We don't like to talk about our feelings amongst each other, and I think also we don't know how to. So I think that was kind of like a guide, like, okay, how can I have these discussions with my family members? How can I tell them when something is bothering me or that they're doing that they won't get offended? You know, how do we have this discussion? Let
me ask you a question. All right, I'm going to flip it. So we know the results of the Smiths in Red Table Talk. Let's put the idea of another Black family having a conversation. What do you think the results is? I'm going to give you an example. Like the Obamas.
Well,
having a Red Table Talk and discussing their family dynamic.
Well, first off, I feel like the dynamic would be a little different. Because we see Michelle, obviously, she's doing a lot of,
open discussions.
Her open discussions.
Even in her book.
In her book.
Oh my God.
And
she's real detailed.
She talks detailedly in regards to her marriage, her being a mom, transitioning from, being a full-time attorney to now I'm married to someone who's a governor, transitioned into the president of the United States.
Yeah.
And, I think what the difference is in those dynamics is because Will and Jada, there's always been...
they were in the spotlight.
They were always in the spotlight, right? And there's always been, what's the word I'm looking for? Speculation in regards to, their open marriage and what's going on and things like that. Well, hold on. Like, well, Jada, she was real because, once the whole Tupac thing and everybody started coming out with their own stories about how Jada and Will was close, and once all that other stuff starts spilling, now you're building in questions yet with,
Obama's.
My forever president.
That's a fact.
Obama, like, you're not hearing that he had somebody on the side. You're not hearing she had somebody on the side. Or they was,
But you will hear how they have had some of the same emotional problems.
Yeah.
But they dealt with it differently.
Right.
And they dealt with it internally.
Right. And I think that's some of the things that we have to look at. Same problems, different outcomes because of how they chose to deal with their family dynamic. And I think that's probably one of the things, like from Black family to Black family, it'll be different. You will never know. If it's not the Obamas, it could be another Black family. It's going to be a whole nother...
The Carters, you won't never know. shit
Yeah,
until they
Beyonce and Jay ain't saying a thing.
Unless
to
people
nobody.
around them really slipping up, like you know how Kim Burrell
Yo.
talked about Jay
Oh, my
Cole
gosh.
time, and it was like, "Yo, B locked herself in the room for like 12 hours.
Yes.
What's going on? Can you
Or-
can you come over here and seances?"
Or in a song when B said, or in a song, remember when B said, of course, gonna go down when $1 billion is on the elevator.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, I'm
I
not
mean,
gonna lie.
it's-
That's the favorite video because B was like,
and it's like your sister or your husband.
yo, you
And
going
we would not have known that if that person did not,
Not
whoever
link
was
drive.
link, the,
the-
link
Yep.
that video.
we would have never
on the
known,
elevator.
ever.
Yeah.
Ever.
I think he probably knew who it was. He was like, oh snap.
And I want to know how much they got paid and was it worth it?
Yo, he's set. I don't think he got to run another video probably in his life.
Like,
that's that
That's
video is
iconic.
forever.
That the whole kick was epic.
it was like, hold on, wait. So
I'm quite sure the Carters are after they released and found out. I'm quite sure they went to it, did a whole non-disclosure and things of the nature.
Oh,
after
absolutely.
the fact.
They got fired for sure.
They definitely got
Or maybe
fired.
they quit. They probably quit, honestly. But there probably was like some type of lawsuit.
That's probably honestly, that's probably one of the best firings because they definitely got paid for that.
Yeah.
They definitely got paid for that. That video, they got paid for.
But yeah, I just think that in wrapping up on this one, you know, do I agree with Nick Cannon? I think at one point the show started turning to a little bit more pop culture to, I guess, more the sense, because right after that, then we started getting, every time something big happened in regards to the rumor mill or whatever the deal is, the next thing you know, okay, this person is on or whatever. So I think there was a transition at one point. Now, as far as Will Smith in regards to his actions, I agree with you, Danielle. He is his own man. He has choices. He decided to walk up on that stage and hit that man. And at the end of the day, it hurt both of them, actually, because, you know, Chris Rock is still dwelling on it, and he's just now trying to speak out about something that happened a year and a half ago now, at this point.
Will Smith's career was hurt.
And Will Smith's career was hurt
like
because
3 movies or I think he got turned down for 3 movies. And then he ended up doing that movie Emancipation.
Yeah.
But outside of that, he was set to do like
a couple of things.
Couple
But
of
there's
joints.
some studios that still said no, we're still gonna work with him because obviously, hence they're releasing Bad Boys 4.
Yeah.
Coming up by 2024. In this sense, and let me say, Martin Lawrence looks really good. He lost weight. For the movie, so he looks good. Shout out to Martin.
Oh, he just recently got a
Star or
Hollywood
Hollywood
Walk of
Walk of Fame. Yes, he did. Congratulations.
Legend.
But I don't think that in a sense it took a turn to where it was toxic enough to influence Will Smith to do it, because I get that he was saying like, oh, you had this man up here looking like a plum dumb clown and all this sort of stuff. But at the end of the day, it's just how you decide. Like you said, how you decide to handle it and basically present it.
we don't know what Jada has done because of Will's discretion.
True.
This is very true.
But we
Same
do
thing.
know what Will did because of Jada's negligence of being discreet. Now, if you're going to have your problems, have your problems.
I feel like
But
Yes.
Will's
Yes.
philosophy on how he deals with his Will's philosophy on how he has dealt with his issues or his problems has kept him working.
Very true. Very true.
The reason why, and there was a post said, the reason why the Smiths are relevant is not because of Jada's last movie.
This is facts, though.
And if we could be honest, you can have your
she got a movie
issues.
coming out?
Hey, I'm just saying. If we can be honest, the idea
legendary
that
movies,
you
though. She had
publicly
classics.
put your man out there, who's the breadwinner of your household, and who's allowing you to do what you do. Not saying that you're not a name in the brain yourself, but your last name is what? So how are you choosing to now? I'm not saying Red Table Talk was not an amazing idea, because it was. But even with Red Table Talk, there could have been some discretion on how you dealt with your own personal family issues. And still let it be therapeutic and healing and restoration for everybody else. That don't mean you let the whole cat out the bag.
Right. And I like the episode when they actually all sat down as a family.
And they went through it and they talked and they opened
talked
up
about it. Like I would have loved to have like that moment would have been like, oh my God, I would have been so tuned in because I never heard, or I know you guys have things, but you guys didn't put it out in such a sense. But you guys are now giving us like the front row seat to be like, oh, let's take a look into the Smiths and things like that. I do enjoy the fact that they talked about how they had to learn
how to do that.
How to do it.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the fact that Will said he had to, because he felt he was the breadwinner, like he had to change his perspective on what is this that she wants, so I love her the way that she needs to be loved. I love that in a more of a relationship sense. You know what I'm saying? But all the other stuff, and then, I don't know. I feel like from a PR perspective, I understand August came out and he talked about the relationship. I feel like that wasn't the moment. I don't feel like that was the moment.
You would have had, as a PR, you would have had to put a lot of fires out. On that alone.
Right. And I feel like my focus would have been just trying to get ahead of it, but I don't think I would have went ahead of it that way.
Yeah.
I think it set Will up in a sense to when all the memes came along and now he's feeling got him looking like a clown and all these things like that. I kind of feel like in my sense, if I was their PR, I feel like I would have waited for a second. I would have waited, and then to the moment where her and Will could sat down and did like an actual like interview
and talked about it
and did it with the right person, not just any platform. They did it with the right person and did an interview. And be able to, first of all, and I'm not saying you got to be cheesy with it, like you got to come out holding hands and sitting down and
be real.
And be real, just be real. And it had that, and like, listen, we're gonna have this interview one time and one time only. We're gonna talk about this just this very moment, right? I messed up. I had relations. I did stuff. I had some entanglements or whatever the deal is. But the perspective of this is that y'all finding this out, we was already in it. Now we healed and we came from that point about the healing and about the solution, about the agreements that you came with. That would have shut all of it down.
Yeah.
But it just, I think just type of the way they had the conversation with the one-on-one, I just think that it just kind of put like some buffoonery out there.
So maybe Red Table Talk left it too open without a solution.
I wouldn't have did it on Red Table Talk.
Yeah.
I would have just we got somebody that we can definitely, for instance, like how Jay-Z, when Jay-Z and Jay-Z talked about his infidelity, he didn't go to the LeBron sat with LeBron James and all of them. He sat with what's his name? The late night talk show. Letterman. He sat with David Letterman. He went to talk with the white man.
Yeah.
He sat down with the white man.
Saying they could have talked to Oprah.
Yeah, I think I probably would have did
Gail.
Oprah or Gail. Well, no, not Gail. I would have did Oprah.
Oprah.
No, Gail would have been. Gail would have went in.
She would have went in on that.
I studied her journalism technique.
Yeah.
Gail starts off and then she punches hard.
Did you see the way she went in on R. Kelly? Got him all riled up?
Yeah.
Did we get how Gail just went in on R. Kelly? Then he stood up and
But we got some great comedic moments from that interview.
Gail, that's the last interview I've ever seen from Gail.
Well, she interviewed the young lady and she ended up doing another re-interviewing the young lady that actually had the relationship with R. Kelly.
Oh, okay.
The one she escaped?
Yeah, and she was like, well, you actually lied. And, and She's like,
AKA,
yeah. I'm like, okay.
Gail went in.
Gail went in
goes
after that.
Oprah, like she throws
She
it out there,
tips.
but then she
And then she kind of comes back because once she hear your answer, Oprah's like, okay.
All right.
Were you silent or were you silent?
So perfect. Look at that journalism at its finest. But yes, so yeah, I mean, at this present time, I mean, they are shopping around. They are looking for a new network. I do hope that when they do get a new network, I think they'll take lessons learned and remodel it. Who knows? We'll see. All right. Nicki Minaj. So first off, there was an incident, obviously, with her husband. There's a couple incidents that her husband has been in. They're always in something. And I wanted to get, I'm glad we have a gentleman here so we can, because some of these topics definitely need a male perspective. So for instance, Nicki Minaj, she's now, she's in court once again in regards to have to paying out $750K over her husband's dressing room assault. And basically how this started is that Nicki had a show. Something went down between Mr. Petty and, the security guards. It was another female that was in part of the security guard camp or whatever. Whatever went down, they didn't get in details about what it was. What they stated was it all started because Nicki ended up calling the female a bitch.
Okay.
Now, it went from there. Petty stepped in. The security guard was like, oh, no, you're not going to come up with my crew like this, like regardless of what type of celebrity you are or who you went married to. And the fight went down in the dressing room, causing damages. Well, I'm like, first of all, 750, what did you have in your, the first question to me was, what did you have in your dressing room that was $750K?
That's what I'm trying to figure out.
What writer was this? We know. What writer did we agree upon about this?
I'm assuming that's not just food and drinks.
Oh.
Well, excuse me?
No, go ahead.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm assuming that's not just food and drinks. But
clearly, she must be asked for I
think that's probably a lot.
Let me get a big screen TV in the room.
That or jewelry.
Let me get some jewelry. You gotta have.
It was lit in there.
Yeah.
So the fight was between Nicki and who?
So it wasn't initially Nicki. So it stemmed from Nicki calling one of the female security guards a B.
Right.
During a show or she's after a performance she did. Now, it escalated because they started going back and forth. Now
Nicki and the security,
right?
The female security.
Then her husband jumped in regards to the argument, which now the male security jumped in because and then they got physical. So with them getting physical, and obviously you're fighting, you're all over the place. Obviously you're not going to stand in one spot.
Right.
You're tussling everywhere, and now you cause damages to this dressing room. And I'm just like,
so if I was the husband of a hip hop artist in that environment, my essential idea after she performs and it's a hostile environment backstage is to get her out of the building.
Yeah.
So I'm letting security know, or I'm telling Nicki, you got 15 minutes. We out of here in 15 minutes. I'm telling the driver we out of here in 15 minutes. I'm packing up stuff while you're getting ready. You're taking off your clothes. You got your stylist helping you take everything down. You're putting on sweats and some sneakers, a cap, and we are leaving. I'm not staying in a hostile environment where
first of all, we even got that far. I would have just been like, let me just get my bag and get out of here.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, but for the aesthetics of what's back there.
It's just work to walk away.
Yep. Yeah. It's not, I think when you get to that level, sometimes you don't think about what you can lose because you have gained essentially what you want. So it's $750,000 back there worth of items that come easy to you at this point. You can go to the next show and get another $750,000 worth of items in your
so
rider.
you're not thinking about
you're not thinking about what you're losing, and you're not thinking about cause and effect. You're not thinking about pros and cons. None of that is on your brain.
You just stuck on somebody,
On
somebody
saying
talking,
something.
speaking, saying something.
And it can be gone in a second, right? Me, because I'm so conscious of that, and we know that level doesn't come every day. You can be on that high, and then tomorrow not be on that high. Yeah. I'm thinking about what's going to be lost, even if Nikki get into it. She's worth a few mil. I'm not putting my wife
being
in that
position that he's in, like, yo, you
I'm
just
not
got out of jail, you're on house arrest or whatever. I'm like, yo, babe, nope, let's go.
I'm not jeopardizing.
Like,
and then on top of that, you're trying to regain now. Nikki's Nikki. Her name is her name. She's a household name. But even in that, I'm not trying to put her in a position to lose any more than what she's already lost at that point.
Because she already got backlash just for marrying him.
Like, there's always going to be, I think with influencers and people with names, nobody is going to be good enough to marry because they essentially put you with another A-lister.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying?
But I think it's because of what his situation was prior to them getting together. I think that's what
he could have been a nice guy. They would have said, "Oh, he's too nice," whether he's from his situation or not. I think because Nikki's Nikki and they don't know him, right? And he got, whatever situations that have happened prior to them getting together, or what we know what their situation is he's essentially never going to be good enough for the general public. So I feel like with that, I'm consciously thinking, how can we get out of here so we don't lose no money?
Right.
And we're not leaving, going to the airport, and the cops is behind us. Yo, we got a warrant for your arrest. Y'all got to come back.
I would have told the signal the security guy, pick her up, let's go.
Because I've seen that happen too. I've seen that. You get into a little domestic situation at a lounge, you a special guest, a falling out happens, you rush the scene, you leave on your way to the hotel or on your way to the airport. Cops is either waiting for you or they behind you. Now y'all got to come back. We got to deal with this issue first, and then you can leave. If you leave, if we don't get locked up. So you never want to put yourself in a position where you're losing again, especially when your name is always in the public eye. You're being killed in the public because people don't approve of who you're with. There's so many cons that work against you. I'm not trying to lose that. So me if somebody's husband on that, nah, we're not doing that.
And being that the fact that there's always, every other month, there's always something happening with them being involved regards to a case or whatever it does. And I get it, that comes with the territory, even if it's lawsuits, because, J&B get sued left and right all the time, But I think when somebody is, obviously you chose to marry this person, of course, and being what the situation was, okay, now we have to deal with the publicity of, the woman coming back and suing. We got to deal with the publicity of the fact that, oh, wait, there is audio in regards to you saying this or whatever the deal is. Okay, now you on house arrest. All right, now house arrest. Okay, now we have to figure out in regards to your house arrest, how far can you really go when you were trying to have shows and tours and do all sorts of things? And then now we have not only multiple cases that keeps presenting itself in regards to your name. It's just when do you start thinking, like you said, having that sense to be like, okay, I need to change the dynamic and all right, you're a brand, how I get you out of here. We don't need nothing else under our belt in regards to another case.
I would say this for anybody who's married to artists or couples who are in the industry, be careful of who your surroundings are with. Because even in settings that are supposed to be good for your artistry, your music, your brand, you never want to put yourself in a position where you have immature people handling your affairs. You know what I'm saying? Not calling Nicki Minaj's husband immature, but there was another way to deal with that situation that would not have got him in a position where he's losing $750,000 and now he has to deal with lawsuits. Because at the same time...
Because the judge ended up granting the gentleman, the security guard, stating that he can move forward in regards to the judgment.
And how about this? The promoters even wanted to ask for their money back. You did a whole show and messed up their dressing room.
Which means now that has to basically come out of their pocket.
And who's to say that that wasn't even a part of now management? Who's to say that wasn't even part of the contract that they signed before she came to perform?
Right.
So damages can affect what you make and the loss of what you bring home.
That's very true.
I just schooled y'all on something.
Contracts.
Them contracts are real. So
Yep.
if you go and you put yourself in a position where you're messing up the money you're supposed to be making, evaluate your team.
Because 5 of them should have said, yo, y'all need to get the hell up out here.
We need to get out of here.
Somebody.
We need to get out of here.
So yeah, I don't know. I wish I wish them the best and things like that, but I'm tired of kind of hearing about Mr. Petty and all of like.
Been tired, still tired, always gonna be tired.
So
And this is Nicki Minaj's husband?
yes.
Wow. I think we need some marital therapy or counseling going on. I mean, he's worse than Safari, isn't he? Sorry, a little joke.
Safari is the joke. Okay? He is the joke. He haw haw. God. Anyway, next.
All right, next, Teyana Taylor talks about being young and signed to Pharrell Williams, wanting him to protect her. So recently she was on Angie Martinez in Real Life podcast, where she just
Great interview though.
Angie Martinez is like really,
Yes.
she's the GOAT.
She is.
Shout out to Angie Martinez.
Yes.
I'll be seeing you pretty soon.
All right. And like, you know, Angie Martinez, she does, and that's one thing I love about her is like she makes her conversations just like conversations. Like it's not anything that's like.
It's a dialogue.
Yeah. It just comes natural, and you know she doesn't try to overstep, but she still gets like some information. But yeah, so she was just on the podcast because she was doing her her interviews for the recent movie she came out with was it
2001 or something like yeah.
Yes.
Her new film that actually just won Sundance Film Festival.
Yes. So so in the midst of like doing her interview, she talks about her relationship with Pharrell and like how she wished like while she was signed like he would have protected her. Because she looked at him as like a father figure, but like protection in a sense of when it came to like music and certain decisions and not having everybody having their hands in certain things. And she did explain like she was grateful for like their relationship and opened a lot of doors and stuff like that. But she just wished like he was a little more. No, she needs this, she needs that, instead of just letting everybody do whatever they wanted because she was young and I mean it is sad that she had to go through that, but also I think that kind of like you have to experience things and for you to go through experience now that you are older, okay, I'm not settling for this. No, I do need this. Okay, you're not gonna give me that. I'm worth this. So it's like I said, like it's sad, like you have to go through certain things to see the end of the
light.
Yeah.
So before we have you interject, now I'm gonna say this. The interview was amazing. I felt what she said, but it's like I was torn because I get where you're coming from personally, and it's just like you needed that protection. Then I also come from the point of Pharrell was doing what his business was. Which was to manage and, make deals that he seemed befitting for his business, not the business of Teyana. You understand? And it is just like, I get it. And that's the whole purpose because of the fact, like, I'm not going to say like, it was like, we talk about this all the time, when it came to Diddy everybody that could
Those contracts. Diddy and them contracts.
you know, when it
Talk that all the time.
Got
we
a
talk
resume.
all the time, and we talk about it because you know artists are young. You know, I'm not saying that he took advantage because I'm quite sure he mentally and physically wanted to make sure, like, oh, I want to be able to bring you up in a sense under me so you can be groomed in a sense, but. You're still young. He can't watch out. He has a whole nother industry. He has his stuff that he's trying to do. He's still trying to produce for other celebrities. He still, you know, got his own group
He had
and
the whole BBC thing
right,
going.
and everything of that nature. So of course that wasn't his place because he's still got to run it in regards to whether he's looking out for you or the next artist or the next one he's trying to sign. I just like I said, I just felt where she was coming from. I just think that if that was more of who your team was, like that should have been your team. Like, well,
But she's young. She's like, you know, you think you have like a mentor in this industry that's gonna like help you and guide you. Like, I would think that
Understood.
you would try and fight for me.
I mean,
I think it depends on the
think it
relationship.
yeah.
And because she was so young, having that perspective on a new relationship is kind of not ideal with a new artist and a label. It grows into a family at some point, but
Yeah.
it doesn't start off that way. It starts off as a business deal. Now, to my sister, what she said concerning making Pharrell looking out for Pharrell, that's essentially what all labels do. And sometimes, if you don't have anyone in your ear giving you where you should be, what you should be negotiating, and what's going to protect you, you're going to take a deal that doesn't best serve you for the purpose of not just putting out music, when you put out music, how often you put out music, who you got to wait for to put out music. All those things factor into negotiating your contract in order for you to get the best deal for you.
right.
Back in the day, I remember when I was working with an artist, and there was a deal on the table. I mean, most artists know this now, those 360 deals. And at the time, I didn't know what a 360 deal was, and I wasn't aware of it. When they told me the details of what that deal was, at the time, we were at the hub of Artful Dodger. I don't know if y'all remember Artful Dodger. And that's when Jay took it over.
Yep.
And when Jay took over Artful Dodger, he brought in this artist from UK that he just signed.
Yep.
He brought in one of my big sisters out here in Brooklyn. She was one of the artists, and I was in the band. And they were supposed to be negotiating a deal and a contract for her literally after. So you had Hot 97 in the room. You had 105 in the room. I met everybody in media in one night. But the deal didn't go through because it was a 360 deal, right?
Yep.
And in those situations,
360 deals.
she knew her worth.
Yeah.
She knew, and same thing with the Teyana Taylor. I'm pretty sure it wasn't a 360 deal, but she got the short end of the stick because she wasn't able to kind of progress herself the way she wanted so young. And I'm kind of glad there was a halt, because what we know in Teyana Taylor now, we probably would have took for granted because she would have been doing it for that long.
Exactly.
So in hindsight, it didn't work for her, but it worked for her.
Yeah.
Because we got records like Wake Up Love. That
whole album. Her whole catalog.
That whole album,
Oh
and
my
then you did the video, the Kanye West joint she did.
Fade.
Yo.
And that's when her career really catapulted. But I just wish people knew her before Fade, because she was hot before.
She was definitely
No,
hot before.
she was doing this
on
as
her.
a kid.
Yeah, she was doing
But
it.
I think the world didn't know. Like, we knew of her. You know how you get into a room and you see people, you know of them, but you don't know them until you're in an intimate space to see them on a different level.
But here's what I want to add really quickly before I forget it. What I love about the fact of what Pharrell did, I think he was giving her the space to be able to learn herself. But what I do like, and I feel like where he did protect her, he didn't just put her in any deals though. He didn't just have his people come in and just like, well, this is what we're gonna do, this is what we're gonna do. Now, I would say he protected because guess what? She was able to pull her music. She was able to do certain things and still be able to move on in the sense of, you know, trying to figure it out, like which direction she was gonna go. I feel like there was a sense of protection, but I think it was more of him letting her kind of, if you got to take a little trip or you got to take a little, hit just to feel or to understand or to experience what's going on or what's happening. You got to just take it. But it wasn't an impact, because we hear stories like JoJo, who couldn't get out of a freaking contract to save her life for years. She had to redo her whole catalog.
That JoJo deal was trash. It was real trash.
Now, if he had her in that type of setup, then yeah, there was no protection, hands down, overall, nothing. But that wasn't the case.
I think I look at it like you don't put an actor in a movie when they need to be in training, in some type of actor's class, right? You can do all that and develop the actor while they're trying to find their identity, but you don't put them in a major movie while they're trying to get a sense of confidence of who they are as an actress or actor. In deals, we sign artists that are underdeveloped, not we, but labels. They sign artists that are underdeveloped, and then they put them through artist development while they're in a deal with their expectations towards something that is not a priority at that moment. And with Teyana Taylor, there was a lot of development that needed to take place because she was so young and she had to find herself, but she was in a contract that probably she didn't need to be in at that moment. And that's probably the reason why she felt unsafe, is because, or not seen, is because her expectation was for what was listed in the business, which didn't happen. Because Pharrell saw that she still needed to be trained and developed as an artist. Like, we see that now, but we don't know what those conversations was then.
Right,
and
that's
where her
very true.
expectations was. So, like for a Chris Tucker or a Will Smith or any of those actors, I'm pretty sure they've gone through whatever training period they've gone through, but we saw them ready. We saw them prepared. We saw them killing the role. We didn't see them while they were in their training mode or learning themselves on who they wanted to be or the identity we wanted to take. We saw Teyana Taylor go through a whole situation. I feel like it was necessary.
We saw the potential.
Yeah.
At the beginning stages, we see that you can be bigger than what it is that you're presenting at this present time.
Imagine if we didn't see that and she came out as Teyana Taylor.
At that time. It would have it would have been a whole different conversation of, well, now I got to refigure myself out.
Her brand would have been much bigger than what it is now, because we would have got the complete package of how people come out now. Now, you know, we do video blogs behind the scenes of my training or development or X, Y, and Z, but for the most part, you're packaged the way you should be as who you presenting yourself to be.
That's very true.
Not going through this whole rigorous process from 15 until her first record at what age? 20-something? Mm-hmm. That's crazy. That's insane. So I think...
Like, it wasn't like how Chris Brown, when he initially... we watched him. Grow up.
But because he was ready. The same thing with Justin Bieber. Justin Bieber came ready. All the little aesthetics of what they had to do, they really didn't have to do nothing. And that's the last time we saw advances given. Like, labels don't give advances.
Usher came through with
the last two artists,
YouTube artists.
From my memory, that got major advances when you signed a deal was a Chris and a Justin Bieber. They were able to get money up front. It's because the return was much greater than what they were getting on the back end. Your artists, no labels doing that.
I mean, there's some artists, like rappers. I mean, Lil Baby,
now they want to
Polo
see their numbers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Everything is a social media game of like, okay, well, we're giving you this amount of money. How do we How do we know you're going to give us our
What is the
money back?
ROI on that?
Yeah,
Okay.
what's your following? What's your engagement like? What do you know? What's your content like?
Yeah, I love Teyana's process, but I think it could have been done a little better concerning like
Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
the longevity. Because at one point I remember I was like, when's Teyana Taylor coming out? I remember like before she really like went full throttle. I remember telling myself, I ain't seen Teyana Taylor since the Sweet 16.
Sweet,
She had the song.
Sweet 16.
She had Google Me, and then
Yo,
that was it.
She had like I heard like
Now
two
wait,
singles?
now she choreographed. Now I remember when she signed with Pharrell. I remember Google Me, but then I was still waiting because I was still seeing Teyana as she's choreographing like
But
videos.
she's been through the industry working with other artists doing other things.
Right.
Even before the whole her and Kanye got together, she was going. I was hearing Teyana Taylor's name, knowing she was an artist, but she was working with other artists behind the scenes doing their stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm like, wait.
And I think that's what confused me because I was just like, wait, so is she doing music?
Are
Or is she
you
not
doing this
music?
for you?
And she was on. Remember, she was on My Beautiful Twisted Fantasy. She was on. Can we get this high?
Yes,
She was on that.
yes.
She was singing on that.
So that for me that was a confusing part because I didn't know what role she was taking from the Sweet
I just
16
took
part.
her as like a multifaceted person.
I can see that.
Because
Yeah.
even on Sweet 16, when she came out on Sweet 16, she said, okay, she's a dancer, she's a singer, she does a lot. So it never dawned on me like, oh, well, she needs to be on like one lane. Like I've always known her to be.
You know who I would have saw her paired with, who's multifaceted and who does all that but does it very well, Jennifer Lopez.
I have to agree with that. Yeah.
Because she's seasoned already.
She's just not good with relationships.
And she's good on relationships. Well, not good with relationships. But she's good in her profession, multifaceted.
Singing.
What'd you say?
Singing.
Not necessarily. I'm talking about the performance
Spanish music.
aspect. Y'all trying to kill my point. I know what you're hitting at. She's an okay.
No, I get what you're saying. Dancing, acting.
Just the multifaceted part,
Yes.
the performer part.
Okay.
And
Everything
the
else
fact
could be
that she's not-
suspect. She's okay.
She's okay.
Yeah, she does well for her music, but I think because
whose
she's
vocals on
experienced. What'd you say?
With whose vocals on it?
D, why you had to do that?
Sorry, y'all.
You know I can't make the comments I want to make, but I will say like just for the multifaceted part,
Yeah.
she's experienced
Yeah,
and
I
she
won't
could
take
have
away
gave
from
her
that.
some tips on like how what to navigate, what to do, not necessarily from like a mentor standpoint, but because she's been there, the 11 Color days, leaving 11 Color, not going straight to do music, but taking the detour to do
when she danced
acting.
on, yeah.
And then from
Yep.
acting,
Yep.
going
To
back
music.
to do music,
Yep.
And then
making that a career, and then fitting movies in somewhere in between
Yep.
the records.
Yep.
So she's figured it out. Now you have a model,
And then
of
the
what that looks
in-betweens
like.
of merchandise.
Merchandise, brands,
clothes, shoes,
makeup,
perfume,
like
everything,
The
yeah.
woman is a brand.
Honey, she's the face of a wine that she don't even drink.
Yo,
I don't know.
She don't drink alcohol.
She don't drink alcohol, but
But-
she the
and
face
that's what
of
I'm
it.
saying. So from a business standpoint, that would have made sense. How many multifaceted women in the industry
Very true.
have that makeup who have somebody to model, to say, oh, let me just make this phone call and talk to this person because they've been where I'm going.
Yeah.
I mean, she's far few in between, but at the time, it would have made
But
sense.
that also proves a point, and we're gonna move on. It also proves a point that why sometimes they'll tell you the closest people that you are working with in the industry. Sometimes you got to go outside of that realm because there are people, other people that can help bring you into a spotlight or a level. Now, some people might say, well, now you stepping on the toes and the hands that's just feeding you and things of that nature. But I think that the same thing I've always said, even about how Diddy, look how Dawn did it.
She made it work for her until she couldn't make it work for her.
Exactly. He gave you the space, he gave you the rooms to go into. Now make it work.
But she was
I'm
she
not
was
gonna
gutsy,
guide
though.
you.
She was gutsy though because I like her approach in the sense of because the opportunity was taken from her, it wasn't something she did. I'm still going to make the best out of this opportunity, and I'm going to demand that I stay on this platform, on this stage, because I know my value. I'm not just going to take what's given to me. And she even said in a few interviews, she said, I approached Diddy. I said, yo, let's have a conversation. After this record is done, let me work on this. Let me do this. Let me do this. And he gave, and because she was proving it already, the little bit of trust that Diddy had for her, it got bigger because she was able to explore and do what she do.
Because he was able to see exactly what it is that she
all
does.
she is. Yep. And now we know Dawn from not just Diddy stuff, but if you listen to her own records is killing too.
Yeah.
And
writing and songwriting.
Music.
So I mean, it's I think it's just, I feel like at the end of the day, there's opportunities. I think that the expectation is like, what you gonna do with it? Are you going to be the one that have the balls to really step up? Are you really going to be the one that's going to carry this out? Are you really going to move? Do I have to tell you when to move and when to say and what to do? Like, I think it's just that because people have just been in the industry so long and just have that mind frame and that mindset in regards to what you're going to do to step up, how you're going to shock or do the shock value in regards to this. That's just what it is. And like I said, I think that I seen the hindsight of where Teyana's coming from, and I see where Pharrell is. Yeah. And I think that he just wanted to make sure she had the opportunity, the right opportunities in regards to her career. And she turned out exactly where she needed to be at this point.
Absolutely.
So
everything happens for a reason.
Very true.
Okay.
All right.
This is your girl.
So speaking of careers and things of that nature, so Escape Latasha debut album, The Invitation, A Conversation with God, sold only 670 first week.
Not 670,000.
Not 1,000.
670.
Just 670 copies first week. Now, mind you, Escape just basically did a collaboration with SWV, Queens of R&B, basically the reality television that basically presented some issues that was taking place between not only Latasha, but also her sister Tamika Scott, and rumored of money being stolen, royalties being taken and things of that nature, not speaking up and actually proclaiming the correct truth, which we don't really know the truth, to be honest. We kind of see that it happened in a sense, but, she didn't come out and really proclaim the truth in regards to it. Now, she has apologized on Instagram. She has offered. That's why I'm getting to it. She has offered to give back the $30,000 to her sister, but yet still claims that there was no wrongdoing. Now, in relation to this, a lot of backlash because a lot of things she have said about Candy, because we know her and Candy has been back and forth all through the years. Is this the reasoning why she didn't impact the gospel world as much? Because everybody think that can sing don't have anointing.
Yeah.
Did y'all know her album was coming out?
Yeah, I did.
Did you listen to it?
I did listen to it.
I did.
It's actually it's not
so y'all
bad.
contributed to the 670.
Pretty much.
Pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah. I support. I will say, and I hate to give this disclaimer, but I didn't believe it. I guess because I've switched genres now. I started in gospel, and I think what I've experienced in gospel is a lack of support. I don't think it's the money issue. I think the audience for her and where she's been is too small. Gospel
very
genre
different.
as a whole is not necessarily in the same space as R&B, hip hop, neo soul for that matter, jazz, orchestra. There's so many different genres of music that exist, and they have their own spaces and their own audiences that support them and their brands and their music. gospel sometimes can be all over the place. And when you've come
And they don't
out
have
of
the budgets.
The budgets neither.
They don't have the budgets like how
gospel music don't have the budget. And I will say this. I will say this too. Because she started out with such a legendary, iconic group.
Yep.
And I'm pretty sure she's had this conversation already, so she's aware that what you are thinking about or having expectations to make in gospel, you really got to do it for the love of Jesus Christ. I'll be honest with you. You're going to, at some point, get somewhere, but it's really out of a passion and a love. Not to say that you won't get paid, but the amount or the audience that you're looking to pull in is not even touching what you are accustomed to touching and dealing with on a daily basis concerning your brand and your music. I am not shocked that her first week was 670. I think.
But honestly, even for gospel, that's still a little low.
No. That's low. But I think about it this way. Gospel music really don't really care what genre you're coming out of.
Oh no, they definitely don't. I agree with that.
They want you to be as authentic in your music, be just as successful as it is or has been with wherever else you were. And artists like Pastor JJ, Ty, Tasha Page Lockhart, Jacqueline Carr, Tasha Cobbs, William Murphy. There's so many good gospel artists who are legit. Not to say that this is a competition, but you got all those to deal with, right? From a sales perspective, right? Because we're talking about like how much she made off these records. You're not beating Ty, right, off your first record. You're not beating Pastor J.J. Harrison and You for Praise. You're not beating Charles Butler.
Anthony Brown.
Therapy. You're not competing with those artists in their tiers. Bishop Hezekiah Walker. Come on. Like, and you're just coming into this as a new artist in the gospel industry.
Let me throw this in here. Because if we talking about someone that's transitioning, that's from a group, let's talk about Michelle Williams. Michelle Williams, when she decided to do a gospel album and kind of, for her first solo album.
She had help though. She had major help. And her behind the scenes at what she was able to do.
And this is what I want to.
The single she had, When Jesus Says Yes, Nobody Can Say No.
No, we're talking about the first album.
The first one.
The first album, not that one.
Oh, yeah. No, the first one.
No. The first album. When Michelle came out, she sold, I think, like first week, probably about, and y'all can Google this or whatever, I think it was like 50 to 60,000, maybe close to 70,000 copies. First week. Now, which Michelle she did talk about in her interview, like her expectations in regards to the album, because she came from the perspective of my grandmother, her wish was for me to do a gospel album.
Right.
And that was her focus. Latasha, she's taking it like while she has this name behind her, Escape, and we got this reality TV show. Now we're moving, and that's what the point I'm trying to get to. I feel like your perspective in regards to the music and being, like you said, authentic in a sense, messed her up to the point where she can elevate. I wasn't expecting her to come out the blue to be like, oh my God, she's gonna make like $100,000 sell 100,000 copies first week or whatever the deal is. No, of course not. Michelle Williams came from the biggest name group and didn't get that first week. Now the second album, she did pretty darn good on,
Made it to the Stellars.
She made it to the Stellars.
With Beyonce.
And Kelly. So I give it to her, because, they pushed that. And then, of course, when she did that number, of course, they invest more into going into your next album. So, sometimes when we used to get up on Sunday mornings and you see the gospel videos and they looking like they're a $50 budget,
That's why.
You know, this is exactly why. I just think that the perspective in which she was going into this signing with Motown, I don't think she went into it with the right expectations.
I think I think there's a lot of, and I say sometimes labels get an unfair rap because of the expectations of what's going to be done for them because they're a label. We have this idea that artists don't have to work anymore to do what's necessary to promote yourself. Now, promotion can very, very well be in your deal. That don't mean you don't.
But
pick up your phone.
They don't know what type of promotion, because they can say, "Look, we can post a flyer. That was promotion."
Yeah, but I'm saying they're not looking at the overall marketing strategy,
The actual plan.
the plan of how they're being pushed. If there's even a marketing strategy in their contracts, that's all.
Because sometimes you got to come with your own PR.
Listen,
you got to.
So labels now have just done distribution. They'll touch on marketing, a percentage of marketing, but now you have to go to a whole marketing company and have a budget strictly for promoting and marketing yourself, because it is no longer in deals. And artists have this idea that
because they don't want to push you. You need to already come correct.
Right.
And have the numbers.
Because of social media.
Have a name.
Because of social media, that is your pusher. That's the reason why before social media they had to include marketing, because how else were people going to know about you? How else were you going to be in front of the audience? They've cut the middleman. You got social media now. So now your work is highlighting and contacting all media outlets to promote yourself, because we will no longer put money behind you. And even when it comes to this particular situation with her, I think in any genre that you switch to, whether you're coming from R&B to gospel or gospel to hip hop or whatever, you gotta consistently pay attention to your own marketing strategy. I'm pretty sure she wasn't going to different ministries and letting pastors, and I think isn't she like a PK, or she comes from a Christian.
She comes from a Christian home. I don't know if she's actually PK.
It would have been beneficial
because her dad left.
Just like R&B artists, they hit these lounges, they hit these clubs to promote their records. They do the work to make sure that their name stays relevant in people's faces.
Look what Tamela Mann did, and her husband.
They went to churches.
They went to church. They did a whole church tour.
They went a whole church tour to promote their record with their own money. And what they got back, you can't tell me that it don't work. It's all in what you choose to do. The same people you call to promote your stuff from a R&B perspective, you can do the work and do the groundwork at calling these ministries, even if you just take a free will offering.
That part.
And not even demand, an honorarium. You're still engaging where now people know. Now when Friday come at midnight and you're looking for people to rock your record, you was just at their church the last 3 Sundays.
And then
they're going to be waiting to listen to your record. This is where it all strategizes, and that's where that number probably would have been a lot bigger. But there was no idea or perspective of putting anything.
They just thought because it was just
because
the name,
her name is good,
held weight, and from Escape,
baby,
that it was just it's sell.
It's not gonna sell by itself. Names, we
didn't see the marketing until
I told you I didn't know this lady came out with anything until I saw the story.
If your name not Kurt Franklin, Ty Tribbett, Tamela Mann, or any one of those, you're not automatically coming out the gate. Even them, they do the work.
They have to do the work.
Shout out to my mentor, Kelvin Leach, and Locks Entertainment. But they do the work. They do the work. They put the work and they put the time in. And I think for her, that 670 could have been a lot bigger because of
it. Definitely could have. I think, and then on top of that, I think if her husband, and I don't know their relationship, I'm not there, and nobody's there besides them. I think another thing as well, because he have been before the show even listed on about bad dealings, just dealing with Escape. So and I think that's another thing too, because you got the company you keep. So, that's her husband. She's going to, obviously, you can't override that pillow talk. So.
Listen, that pillow talk be real good.
That pillow talk be good, But,
yeah, that pillow talk be real good, don't it?
But I'm just saying, I think.
I wouldn't know.
Because even for me, if it was like my husband and I think for me, I wouldn't even have my husband in that position because of the fact that I need to make sure that my pleasure is not overriding what my business is.
Right.
Yeah.
I need to make sure that when I step out of mommy mode, wife mode, and I'm going straight into Aasha mode, like business boss mode, like I need to make sure we can strategize and we can really depict and move forward on certain things, because there's no way I would have had an album coming out and I'm like, because I would not have been asking my team, what's the plan? Mm-hmm. Why are we, just because I'm from Escape doesn't mean that this is going to hold weight. I'm in a whole new world now.
Exactly.
Fantasia, same thing. Everybody loves Fantasia. Everybody wants her to do a gospel album, but Fantasia knows that I just can't surprise drop an album.
Fantasia gonna go to everybody's church.
That part.
She's gonna humble herself, and she's gonna show up. She's gonna have respect for the pastors and leaders of the ministry she go to, but she's gonna minister, and she's not gonna demand, you gotta give me X, Y, and Z, because this is not rock soul of what we've been accustomed to seeing out of her from an R&B perspective. Now I want Fantasia to do a record. For the last 2-3 years, people been asking, because it's all embedded in her rock soul presentation. At the end of a Fantasia concert, she gonna give you one good gospel record, and you gonna be somewhere with your arms. Next thing you know, your hands is raised, feeling Jesus, right? Mm-hmm. At that point, it's not absent the work that she's gonna do when that record hit. So I think that's the missing link to
because look at, she was at a church. Latasha was at a church. Somebody passed her the mic. It was all in, I don't know if it was on the Shade Room, but I know it was on Larry Reed's Live or whatever like that. We ain't gonna talk about him. Cool. He another topic. And she was singing, and most of the comments was like, "Where is the anointing in this? Like, I don't hear it. I don't feel it.
Sense it.
I don't sense it. None of that." And even for us, we church babies, we all grew up in the church and everything. When we talking about Pentecostal and all sorts of Kojic, and when somebody grabs the mic, it's like, you want to feel that to your soul.
The tears come out.
Child, you gonna be slaying under the benches.
Yeah,
under the benches. And that was the main thing. And some people was just like the strategy was saying, if she would have free-willed, went around. First of all, you're from Atlanta. You mean to tell me there was not one church in Atlanta?
There's a Baptist something that she
what? A Baptist, Kojic, full Pentecostal, somebody over that got
African
over
Methodist something.
You could have worked that, ma'am.
Yeah, you could have worked the record, and if you had to, I think Jermaine Dolly did this. Shout out to Jermaine Dolly.
Yes.
I think he went and did a tour with many different churches when that U record.
I went to one of the performances he said that was right out in Long Island.
And he toured
while he was still singing with Ty.
Yep, he toured that one song and made that one song a number one for I wouldn't say a good amount of time. For a few consecutive weeks, he was number one on the radio because he went from church to church to tour one song and be the special guest to sing that one song and minister. And he always talks about it, how that prepared him for everything he's about to do now and all the records that came afterwards. Yep. Sometimes you just got to use simple strategy at reaching the people who are connected to you, like in close proximity. You don't have to have this grand marketing strategy, but people will be open to wanting you to come. I think that's a part of our artist development too, where you got to understand, like, when you walking into like new settings, new surroundings, pay attention to like the people who you have in close proximity, because you never know, they can help you get to whatever venue or stage you're trying to get to. Yeah. But you don't try to do that. We'll skip that without understanding, like, yo, this is a new record. People don't know me in this space, and this is what I got to do to make people, or have people understand who I am.
Yeah.
So moral of the story is don't be afraid to get your hands and feet dirty and to do the work. And humble yourself.
That part. All right.
So our next topic is Chance the Rapper. He spends his birthday in Jamaica for Carnival. And he gets a lot of backlash for dancing with a young woman inappropriately. I mean, I don't even know how to begin this conversation, because it's like, if you don't understand, like,
what is the expectations?
Well, what's the expectation? And it's also, okay, if you understand like a Caribbean culture, you know that dancing is just literally that, just dancing. Like that's it. Like there's nothing more to it. I think it is a little more for him because, one, he is in the spotlight. He is a celebrity. He is a married man, and he's like catching a dove from a young woman, and it's just like, okay.
That twerk was serious though.
It was.
Yeah.
But it's like,
that was serious. I ain't gonna lie.
Like I said, like if you understand like Caribbean culture, it's nothing more than that.
Yeah. It's all that.
They're all dancing.
So, but then it's like, okay.
But of course.
If this was you, Jeremy out in Jamaica, he catching the dove, is that inappropriate?
Long as I don't have a problem with it. Long as he know, you better not go home with her. But I think being that I know his culture and I know, that they love to dance. Like I've seen videos of them dancing on rooftops and doing all sorts of stuff and flipping and jumping on women and, riding the booty and all the sorts of stuff. Me personally, and I'm just speaking for me, this is just me. The relationship I have with my husband, I'm fine with it because I get that it's all in fun. I think if your expectations, if your thought process is different and you're looking to, and I feel you're looking to think you're going to go out there and just be like, ooh, let me see like what's out here, like, ooh, type that, then yeah, like, all right, you now set yourself up into a sense of like, all right, this is the direction in which I was trying to go, and I went a little too far, and now I gotta pull myself back. But I wouldn't have a problem with it because I knew, first of all, it's Carnival. Like he probably catch me over there dancing. Like,
yeah, but people don't know what happens in Carnival. I think the general public, although we do know Jamaican culture, the general public doesn't know the ins and outs of it. They don't know what's a norm and what's not. And I've been to festivals like that where it's a full-out twerk section. But then after, they walk off like they don't even know each other.
That part,
and it's not even, they're not taking it as literal as the act. But I think it just speaks to how they mix and how they mingle, how they get down. And I don't take it literally, but then you have some people that do.
They was analyzing the man's facial expressions.
But then also like his wife, like people were getting him because his wife posted a quote unquote cryptic message. Like she posted
the whole poem in Maya Angelou's
poem, and it's like, all right, do you feel a way? How do you feel about it?
So I'll say this, and I've seen this happen before, where we can have a conversation in private about a public matter, something that happened in public, and the media on social media will give their opinion, and now your viewpoint has changed, right? So not to say that they probably didn't have a conversation. I'm just putting it out there out of assumption. But if they did have a conversation, it was one thing about that matter because of where they were. And then we give our feedback of how we feel about it. Next thing you know, there's tweets and posts of a different feeling and emotion, because now the masses feel you should feel a certain way about it.
I hate social media.
You should feel a certain type of way that you originally don't.
Right.
You don't care for. You're not thinking about. And one thing that I don't like about social media is they make you want to feel a certain type of way that you don't feel. That's not a part of your makeup. That's not a part of your thought process.
Because she could have been very well cool. with it.
She could have been absolutely
And she
fine
probably
with it.
could have
And-
like knew the expectations. All right, you're in Jamaica's carnival.
Yo,
obviously, you
I
gonna-
already
And
know.
it's your birthday.
That's
Turn
just-
up, boo.
Yo,
Yeah.
so and what I do know is one of my supervisors at the Marriott. Shout out to the Marriott International. Y'all treat me so well.
We want a discount.
Y'all treat me so well.
We want a discount.
Yeah.
But I got y'all. But one of my supervisors, she's of Jamaican descent, and she tells me all the time like the nuances of how they deal with each other, how they talk to each other,
Yeah.
how they and it's what's romantic, what's platonic, and you wouldn't think that the way you deal with certain people is what it is, but to me, who is not of that culture, I'll be like, oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know this was a thing. I didn't know this was a
You gotta
thing.
understand the culture in order to like people on social media. They don't understand it, so that's why they're formulating these opinions. Like, oh, that's so disrespectful. Oh my gosh, he is disrespecting his
Nah.
marriage. He's disrespecting his wife.
Oh, the
I
kids.
probably,
Think of the kids.
I probably,
What?
if I know, and because I know social media, I probably would have did a soiree or something else in a private setting where it eliminated social media. So that way, if we having fun and we're in Jamaica, you don't have to worry about you leaving and something being posted seconds after you leave. You just have the opportunity to just enjoy yourself without. Now he knew there was going to be a post about it. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I'm quite sure.
But at the same time, to eliminate the comments, because sometimes social media be, a bitter woman on you, right?
Why I gotta be
Right? It
You
gives
about
that
to open
effect.
up a whole can over here.
I'm just saying it gives you bitter woman vibes. But I'm sorry, y'all. This is my first time on podcast. But it gives you it makes you feel a certain type of way, and I think for us. This is something we shouldn't be butting our heads in because if you're not of that culture, you don't know.
Yeah,
mind your blood clot.
Yeah.
that part.
Not even Jamaican.
What Danielle just said.
Yeah, because Jeremy talks to me all the time, like, with, dancing, because even sometimes with, we have debates because, I love Meg Thee Stallion and everything like that. And he gets frustrated with Meg Thee Stallion. He's like, all she do is twerk, 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 twerk. And they come from a culture of dancing. He's like, that's not dancing. I'm like, it's dancing. It's a form of dancing. It's a type of dancing, something like that nature. But I understand where he's coming from because they come from where, even with, Caribbean, Afrobeats, everything, it's a form of dance. Like they're dancing, and I get where you're about to go, like in a sense of, with, if I, been over and all sorts of stuff.
In my mind, bro.
Yeah,
But-
it don't get me wrong, but men love twerking, but sometimes it becomes a bit too much.
Yeah.
When
I believe that part.
when I see you and all I see is one specific thing, especially when it comes to like dancing, that's a headache.
Like, that's all you can do?
That's all you can do. Like,
Yeah.
and for my generation that knows dancing from the dancers of what we've seen, you got to bring more to the table than twerking. It's gonna get for me.
Because I feel like that now, like that's literally in music. Like, obviously when we see newer acts like Ice Spice and things like that, like literally that's all we see is somebody bending over,
No, like it's
twerking
getting
or
old
whatever.
now. Like,
yeah,
like swiping now to see dancers.
like you don't see dance like how we had dance from Usher, Chris Brown, Sierra, Teyana Taylor and things of
Yo,
that nature. So we
I'll
don't
take
see
it a step
that.
further. The Les Twins.
Yes.
That's dancing.
Mm.
That's dancing, right? They infuse every culture, even their own, even with the team that they used when they did the Beyonce stuff.
Yep.
Beyonce was twerking,
really-
but she was doing other stuff and that choreography. So we know the difference between, Jamaican descent culture dancing, twerking, and whatever else everybody else is doing. That's we know what it is. And to me, that's culture driven. That's not,
Yeah. Just know if you're married, set the ground rules with or you're in a relationship.
Listen.
Set the ground rules beforehand or whatever the deal is. But then at the end of the day, it's like, don't lose sight of having fun. You know, I think even within my marriage, like, you know, we want to have fun. You know, if I see a pretty girl, I'm like, ooh, she bad. You know, I get props where props at. Like, that's what it is. I'm not a person to hate and be jealous of anything. I'm like, she got big booty, you got big booty. You know, that's what it is. You know,
love what you got, people. Love what you got.
That's what it is. Like when you confident in yourself, you confident in your not only yourself but your relationship and what's going on. Like, you know, you guys are to have fun. I think social media just takes some things out of perspective. Who's to say Chance didn't already have that conversation with his wife? Like you getting again.
His wife wasn't already there. And she
right? She could have been standing right there. Cause I know I would have been like, get it, bitch.
You already hip. I was there filming the joint.
Right.
Why y'all mad?
Shit, I was the one that told the girl, hey, get up on my husband like that, girl.
Right.
Throw it back.
Right.
Okay, it's his birthday.
Like it's his.
I mean, I would not. But I'm just saying. She probably did.
She probably could have, very much well. And who's to say that this could have been a publicity stunt? Because ain't he dropping a whole new tour?
A tour and a record.
And a record?
Yeah.
Why not? People know when the right time to get attention, so we'll leave it at that.
We just gonna say clickbait. People know what.
We know exactly. We know how to get the attention.
Get your attention. Yep.
Just like Sierra and her dress.
Clickbait.
Clickbait.
Oh shit! Remember that?
All right. The topic of all topics.
Jesus Christ.
All right. So first off, I'll lay it out there. So Marques Houston. Has returned to the music scene. He's returned. Well, obviously we know he's been acting. To be. He's returned to the music scene. He dropped the news his latest album. He also did a TV One special on Song. It's talking about his career. And not only did he talk about his career, he talked about how he met his current wife. Marques Houston has been successfully married for 4 years so far. I cannot think of the young lady's name, but they have a child together. Okay, there we go. And but here's the catch. In the interview, Marques Houston claimed he did not have any relations with his wife or, you know, really started digging into a relationship until she turned 18. He was either 37 or 38 at the time. He was introduced to her when she was 17 by another older man who Christophe is older than Marques Houston. Now, mind you, as we almost got into this earlier, like in the beginning before everything started.
I said, hold your ideas.
Do you know any 16 to 17-year-olds or 18-year-olds presently right now that you can just say, oh, I'm going to have my boy connect with you?
I'm 37 years old, and I know no 18 or 17-year-olds currently right now. I don't even know a 20-year-old. I don't know anybody under 25.
Besides my nieces and nephews.
I know.
I'm 20. I was gonna say 23. I'm 32, and what conversation would I honestly have with somebody who is 17, 18, 19 if we are not family?
That part.
But I think I touched on it a little bit. I know why he made the decision to do that. There are some men that call it weak or not, because I know there's this whole issue around what's weak and what's not. There's this idea from men that they can't tolerate not just a woman's baggage, but they can't tolerate a woman's voice and or opinion regarding a relationship and a marriage. Now, I feel like this is deeper because I don't know his previous relationships as to what has happened to minimize or how he feels minimized as a man, that he has to find someone of that age bracket to assert his dominance as a man.
So let's go back. So in the interview, he also does clarify the fact that why he do not date women of his age, because of the fact that he does feel women of our age comes with baggage. He does feel that, you know, he don't want to deal with the, like, as we talked about earlier, he don't want to deal with the fact like, oh, well, my last relationship or my baby daddy or, you know, what traumatized me to try to get over certain things. So basically he's going to, oh, you know what? Let's bypass this. Let me start here. Because he clearly stated in the interview, he was like, when he started talking to her, he felt that there was a sense of commoncy in between them.
Ain't no shit you got in common. You are a 38-year-old man. You ain't got no shit in common
with a 17-year-old, I'm sorry, or a 19-year-old.
But then my thing about it during his
what bill you paid?
My thing about it, he's like, oh, you know, we both love God and we just have to.
Y'all can love God.
I feel like people are predators. They try to do that. They try to make it seem like, okay, you know, we have such a like strong connection with God, and you know, we are meant to. No,
it's formed of manipulation because you
don't put God in your mess.
I think for me, what is a triggering standpoint is you need to find something lesser to insert yourself as. And in most cases, especially when it comes to relationships, the reason why there's so high of relationships not really working is because trauma's not healed, triggers manifesting, you not being aware of yourself and knowing where you are as a man or woman. And I feel like it stems from your choices. Now, we don't like most R&B artists, we don't, like Marques Houston's resume of women, it's not recorded.
It's not there.
Right, it's not there. And, you know, little dates here and there with certain, you know, women of the industry at that time when he was.
Now, mind you, the only one that I really particularly knew about was that he did go on a date with Beyonce.
Well,
years like ago. This is years ago.
That was like, this is way before Jay. This was when this is when Wyclef was working on him when the no, they was during that era. I remember that. But again, we don't have an outline of what has happened to him and his resolve concerning why do you feel like this is the only option for you?
Right.
Like for me, that's alarming. You couldn't find a 32-year-old, you couldn't find a 35-year-old that had the mindset.
Hell, I would have been fine if you said that she was 25, 26. Like,
well, I'm saying for the simple fact that you feel like you don't have a voice at all
because
with nobody
men
your age.
Like to groom women.
Not all men.
They like to groom.
Don't say men all.
Some men like to groom women.
Thank you.
They like to be able to say, okay, I'm gonna make her think and develop her to be this kind of person that I want her to be. I want her untouched. I want her to like basically like somebody that's brand new out of the box.
Yeah, so and that goes to what we were talking about before we was on air, is because I don't know how to deal with my own. I'm traumatized. It's like a ripple effect. Like I'm traumatized by my own decisions, but you remind me of what I did as a woman. I'm going to choose someone who don't have a voice at all, who don't know themselves at all. And that way it can become an empty canvas for me to imply what I would want that person to be.
But why would you want that? Why wouldn't you want somebody who can't think for themselves?
But think about it too.
Like a yes person. Like why
it's
would
manipulation.
It's manipulation. And then look at his surrounding. Because how many times Chris Stokes have been in the news? First of all, Raz B definitely gave some allegations in regards to being sexually assaulted by him. You know, we have heard multiple stories.
I'm pretty sure there were some others that have not been told concerning that whole Chris Stokes situation, because that blow up was bad. And his reputation is not nowhere near good at this point. But hey,
that's why he ended up transitioning to film. Yeah. He transitioned to film. You know, he don't do anything music.
Yeah, because that was evidently there's a pattern regarding that, and that's not. Yeah, that's
so weird.
that's crazy. But I couldn't see myself. If anything, I would find somebody older.
Absolutely. But you know what's so crazy? I realized Marques Houston is getting a lot of backlash for this. But there's celebrities who are not black who do the same shit. Leonardo DiCaprio is top of that list. currently dating somebody who's 19, and this man is damn near 50.
Well, I got a question. So it's not acceptable on that one, but is it acceptable
It's not acceptable, period.
when Jennifer dates a 20-year-old? I mean, she's not with him now, but she was with a 20-year-old for 4 or 5 years.
Jennifer who?
Jennifer Lopez.
Jennifer Lopez, yeah.
He
Was a dancer.
He was one of the dancers, and she dated this man, almost married this man, and was with him for 4 to 5 years.
What was their age gap?
Like,
at the time, I think she was in her
she was in her 40s.
God damn.
late 30s, going into 40s,
Like 40s.
early
She was,
40s.
she was in her 40s. He was 20.
I think it's, you know what, I think it's only acceptable if they're like above maybe 25, 23, 24, 25.
No, but he was, so it would have been acceptable if she was 20.
If he still had teen in his age, that's not acceptable.
Oh, I got you. But it would have been acceptable if.
You know what? No, because now people gonna be thinking like, no, this shit is not acceptable at all. No, so people gonna be thinking like, okay,
Y'all not gonna go for her.
clock struck midnight, now they 20, now you know.
Yeah, because I got to think about that. We don't find cases where the woman in the music industry is like 45 and he's like 25. We don't see those.
Look at
we
Madonna. Madonna.
Well,
she
I mean,
be
yeah,
dating-
but how long ago was that? Like, we're
she
not.
dating, like, dudes that's like 20,
No,
30,
I'm sorry. Didn't Lady Gaga date somebody younger
No,
too?
No,
Cher right
Cher.
now.
Cher did.
Cher.
So yeah. So we. I mean, white
It's
white
not
women.
socially acceptable.
Yeah. I mean, it's coming
I
from white
don't
women.
find
though.
it socially
Not black women.
So let's piggyback off this real quick.
But I think they do that because it's like, you know what, they're older women, they're tired.
This whole cougar status.
I know some black Krugers. They out here in the streets, and they looking heavy.
But I think also
I allow my
with
DMs.
from like a woman's standpoint, they're not looking to groom a man. Like they just want to have fun. I think that's the difference.
But in the sense of Marques Houston, for him, I think whoever his PR person was, they didn't tap into him with this interview very well at all.
Shut that shit down.
I think he could have been well received if he came from a place, if he talked about, you know what, the black love, the goals of marriage, and not depicting, because I would have been like, first of all, we leaving age out.
So
We leaving certain
Tiz,
conversations out.
You touch on the point, and this is what I've learned about interviews and media, and this is what keeps you safe and keeps your stuff private, is when you're asked a question concerning your viewpoints on your relationship, you can talk about your whole relationship without mentioning names, ages, dates, times, places, and still be as effective as if you were giving a timeline of when certain things happen, right? I can talk about my marriage or my relationship to whoever I'm with, and I still give you the details of how we exist in our relationship without always going detail for detail. That's where most celebrities and artists, they mess up, because now you're giving too much of a timeline that the social media can critique, and that's none of their business.
Because because we already know she's young.
But wait, also, we didn't mention the part where people dug up the fact that she was reported missing when she was younger.
Oh, yes,
Like
yes.
when she was like 16, like 15, 16.
So
Yeah.
now that she's with the older guy, that implies.
Well,
like she just popped out of nowhere. Like you were missing, and now all of a sudden you just popped.
there
up
was a
out of nowhere.
timeline because Chris Stokes, where he messed up, he put her on in the credits during a few of the movies, and the movies came out in the time frame in which the year she was missing, and he credited her. So now the assumption is that she was obviously with his camp in regards to the time when she was missing, and now all of a sudden you're introduced to Marques Houston, who's one of the biggest artists you had at the time.
So could that be negligence on her part to who her accountability partners were, her parents or her guardians, not necessarily the work? Because again, a person of her age could have told them anything to be
Right,
in
she's
that
a
particular.
teenager.
She's a teenager.
She's a teenager.
Let's go
And
back
I'm
to
not
R. Kelly.
suggesting that Chris Stokes is innocent.
Right.
In his responsibilities to find out whether or not, hey, yo, do your parents know? Are you good?
You got permission for this?
You got permission for this? They went ahead and did what they were only suggesting that was okay to do, only because she's probably making it seem like it's fine. Now, nobody knows that she was missing up until the point that they found out she was missing, because at that time
So
they
they
probably
actually
thought
pulled a
she was
report.
okay.
Yeah.
Right. So, it's negligence of bad conversations and not being aware. If you're underage and you shooting a movie, there should have been a permission slip or contract or something signed that
Your
made
parent- somebody need to be
made us know you're supposed to be where you are. And for that reason alone, you put yourself in harm's way to have to file a missing persons report.
Right.
Because people don't know where you are. And now the details is, oh, you shot 3 movies in 3 months. Oh, this is where you were the whole time. Thank you for letting me know. I appreciate it.
Right.
But that's I don't like that. I think both sides. Her negligence of lying to her parents, probably,
It's a possibility, yep.
huge possibility. Telling them one thing to go do something else by being introduced to someone who was side-eyeing her in that mix. Plotting and
He's
scheming.
like, that's some young, fresh meat.
I wouldn't have been, we said this earlier, between that R. Kelly camp and Chris Stokes, you in bad company.
They neck and neck.
That's
The only thing is everything is all alleged at this present time. You know what I'm saying? And they don't have
proof.
individuals or proof that's speaking out, because obviously with R. Kelly, everybody was coming out of the woodworks, you know?
And they wouldn't have come out if Lifetime didn't do that documentary.
That's very true. And I
Money
think
involved.
this is going to be another
situation.
Lifetime needs to do a
situation
documentary on
where it's going to be out. And then I think what's so crazy, we're going to owe Raz B an apology because of the fact that people didn't believe him.
We thought he was crazy.
They was like, oh no, you just you literally you just fell off. Like that's just basically it. You trying to find your way back. So now you're trying to say this and come up with all these different allegations or whatever the deal is. And it's probably going to be that pivotal moment where it's just like, oh, you was saying it the whole time.
We gotta be
Now,
there.
granted, what's the other one that was part of B2K?
The one that dated Omarion's
Fizz?
baby mother. Him?
Not Fizz, the other one.
Fizz?
J-Bug.
J-Bug. Now, J-Bug, he did step out and support Rasby in regards to that. But it was a few years later after he came out with the allegations. Came out. And J-Bug did state some things too. But then
Didn't they have
J-Bug,
like a recording, like a secret recording about like how Chris Stokes did this and
Yep.
did that. That's
but then pulled back his story. So we don't know. Yeah.
Money.
What's the moral of the story?
I think the actual moral of the story is that
Find somebody your age.
That
Period.
part. Just find someone around your age.
Just find somebody your
Nobody's
age.
gonna be perfect. Like,
And if you don't want nobody your age, find somebody older. They'll comply.
That's a fact. They'll comply. What do you mean
I
comply?
mean, you know what I mean. Not comply like subject to do what you want them to do,
Submissive.
but they'll listen to what you want and how you want things done.
Okay.
I'm not saying they will agree to it, but they'll listen.
They'll work with you.
They'll work with you.
Or just get healing. Start working on you and
Let's do
start
that
healing
part
you
first.
Because you will appreciate someone who, if I went through something, I had some experiences and I start healing myself and I decide I want to get into a relationship, I can be able to respect the fact that there's something that someone may be going to that they can be able to learn and that I can be able, since I already went through this process now, it'll then be on to you whether if not you want to continue that relationship because you feel like you already went through it. I think it puts you in a place to understand what you don't want and what you want. And then when you can see it, when you're getting or you're dating that dating phase of a person, then you will know, like, you can be honest with yourself and honest with them. Like, you know what? We have a good time. We have great, but I just don't really foresee this moving any more than what it is. At least you can be transparent and honest with yourself. And I think when you heal yourself and be able to, you won't say comments like Marques Houston was saying, like, I don't want to date nobody my age because they come with baggage.
Yeah.
You come with baggage.
Everybody comes with baggage.
Everyone comes with
That's why I
baggage.
said nobody's perfect.
Just because you think you might have a baby daddy or a baby mother or, you know, a couple of kids here, things like that, it comes with her. Any type of trauma you come to, even growing up from a child to an adult, that is baggage. If you are affected by something, you're carrying something, some type of weight, and
Not
you have to
everybody.
heal from it. You have to know how to get through it. And like I said, we go through this whole stigmatism of Black families and saying, oh, we got to go to church and we got to let God move and do this and everything like that.
Sometimes
It's deeper than that. You got to step outside that realm and move forward. I think the whole purpose, if Marques Houston would dealt with those things we didn't see and healed, he would not have been saying that. I don't think he would have been with her. If he would have healed, he would not been with her. He would have been like, oh, that's my niece. That's my baby sister.
Yeah,
You look like somebody that, you know, I can just pick up with your girlfriends and take to the AMC theater. I'm chaperoning, you know, just keep the boys away from you guys and y'all good and we take you home. Like that's what it is. I think if he would have dealt with his trauma and he healed and he came out of that, he would have been 100% had a Black queen by his side say, you know what, this works for me.
I think the idea of perfection is too overhyped.
That part.
And I think we live in a society that organically, they don't want to choose who they really belong with, is because they want to choose who's going to be befitting for a role or an image.
Or who's going to look good on my arm.
Or who's going to be acceptable for whatever they're trying to, or who they want to become. If you're honest with yourself at what you like and what you don't like, who that looks like won't be the Instagram model.
You better preach.
Yep.
And it won't be the woman that's always twerking on social media, right? When you start to really heal and understand what you want and what you like, your dislikes, your cores, your foundations, all this stuff, you're at an honest place where you can really talk from an organic place and say,
And approach relationships different.
And approach relationships differently. I'm not going to you're not going to have me mess up and then get a second opportunity and make the same mistakes and choose the same way I chose the first time I did this. We're not doing that. I'm way too older. But when you're not healed, you'll pull a Marques Houston. You know what I'm saying? You'll put yourself
and see
in a
everybody
position,
else as the problem and don't analyze that you're the problem.
Not even in a position to even own your stuff as a Black man. Now you're putting yourself in a position as how Black women really see us. See, I told you so. He's not going to get himself together. He's not going to lead. He's not going to take accountability. He's not going to be responsible. And if something doesn't go right, now he has the response of saying, oh, it's her fault. Because she's young. She don't know.
Right.
It doesn't put him in a position
She's not going to be able to tell, because if he mess up in school, she's not going to be like, well, you're not stepping up. She don't know what stepping up is.
So now there's so many nuances to these particular relationships. And because he's of experience manipulating a relationship, the dominance falls back on him. And the lack of responsibility and accountability is not even nowhere in the picture. So you're going to have a damaged young woman growing up from a bitter person who hasn't dealt with their issues. And I don't like that for Black men at all, especially with where we are and what we got to deal with.
She's beautiful young lady, everything. You know, and not say looks are everything, but what I'm saying is that I will hate, and I've never been a person who don't want somebody's relationship to work, because whichever way, I mean, they're 4 years in, you know, at this point.
It's working somewhere.
It's working, that part. It's working somewhere for him.
I was going to say something
but
about
I would hate for her to really get with someone. Like, God will send you and center you with right people, right? I would hate for her to get to a friendship or build a connection with someone who's showing her things that where she feel like, oh my God, I never saw this before.
Yeah.
I never felt this before. So now,
how it's supposed to be done?
Right. And now that she's feeling new things, she's seeing new things, Now it's like, okay, I'm coming back to you. Hey, babe, I've been thinking and feeling like this. Oh,
Where'd you get that idea from?
where you get that from?
Yeah. Who's influencing you?
And now it comes to, now it's an outside influence that's a bad influence for you, instead of me being that person who I should be the direct and initial influence for you. And you're not, now you're not feeling what I'm saying. Now you're outside feeling everybody else what they saying. And it's just like, she's going to wisen up. She's got to grow up.
But it also starts at I know we turn from music to relationships, but because of this whole Marques Houston situation, I feel like this is important because if the head is bad, right, and is not being led properly, there is no way for her to really make sense of her emotions and her feelings in an organic, honest, pure relationship.
Because she's going to have questions.
She's going to have questions, and she's going to be internally challenged by what she sees, what she pays attention to, and what she discerns as a woman. And an undeveloped woman, too, because she's still growing, right?
I don't think she sees herself like she's being groomed.
No, not right now.
Oh, no, she's not going to see that now.
But at some point, it will get to a point where she will pay attention to the evidence and the signs of the room and see the patterns for what they were and understand there were some outlets or some wisdom somewhere else that was like, yo, be wisen up a little bit, have your eye on this, and when she gets of age where she's able to understand and see it, I think, but if the head, and I wanted to say this too, but if the head was different and he was doing all that he should be doing as a man, you wouldn't have to find or look for outside sources as signs of what to pay attention to in your own house. Like, I've been there. I've seen that. And I think sometimes it's more important for you to have the qualities and the things you need inwardly, so that when you do get into a situation where you're asking for direction from your spouse or from your partner, you know that it's coming from a very organic place because they want the best for you. And they're not manipulating you to get what they want as a result of you being with them. Like, it's a manipulative relationship because he don't want to deal with a certain part of his relationship or past relationships in order, like my sister said, in order for her to see herself. And how are you ever going to get advice, pray with, know what real accountability looks like, if my feelings and my emotions coming to you is going to be manipulated because you want me for what? You know what I'm saying? You want me because I'm younger and I don't know better? Or do you want me because I am experienced and I have something to bring to the table?
Yeah. But just the moral is just date somebody your own age. And so, but we wish them the best. We wish them the best. We don't want
happy 4 years, Marques.
Happy 4 years.
Happy 4 years.
4 years more.
Appreciate you.
But first of all, Josh, listen, thank you so much for coming through.
No problem.
This was all a vibe. You definitely, gave us some very manly perspective. Okay, we needed that. Shout out to first of all, just to you, your team, and everybody that you work with. You are an amazing hand down friend, a brother. You definitely come through when a sis needs you, okay?
Absolutely.
All right, so thank you. And guys, do not forget, we will be having our media panel and mixer.
Passion too.
Yes.
Go get tickets to that. If you haven't gotten tickets, I'm telling you right now, I'm going to promote this. Camera on me over here. Y'all better go get these tickets because she's putting this together for major women in media. She's putting this together for a lot of women in the area. She's trying to link and network and have a lot of people come together. So I feel like this will be beneficial for you to show up. Yes. Go get them tickets. Link in below when this is out. Link up high.
Bio, links
bio,
everywhere.
Links everywhere.
Click.
We putting links in stories. We putting links on posts. Links everywhere. I'm telling you, this is an event you don't want to miss. Yes. So go get those tickets.
If you're in the New York City area, it's at Lips Cafe in Brooklyn. It's going to be Saturday, May 13th.
Yes.
From 2:30 to 6 p.m., we have just amazing women that's going to be on the panel.
Yes,
So.
and we didn't even get to the panel yet, and we're already making connections because I know people are reaching out and wanting to do some things. So we're very thankful, and please, please, please always support. We do have our indie talks that happen on Thursdays night, every Thursday night, 7 p.m. We have some amazing artists. We have some amazing industry individuals. Josh, we got to pull you on. First off, that, and then of course we have check out our platforms. We have everything that's happening. We have Amp Music for our Genius Music Only radio. And what else we got? That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
For now. But guys, thank you so much for always supporting. Thank you for always coming through. And please, 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 you already know I am your host, Aasha Lewis Redway.
Your girl, Danielle Meeks.
All right. We thank our guest host for coming through, Josh Salter.
Thank y'all for having me again. This was fun.
Yes.
The topics were really, really good. I enjoyed myself. Again, y'all support Genius.
Yes. And of course, you already know it's nothing but real music, real style, and real people. And it don't get no realer than this. So guys, you already know. Until next time, we are out. Peace.
See you.